Yes.
Yeah. Hey everyone, welcome to Go Live, the Saturday evening talk show, the last show of 2020, a year that I think we all want to say goodbye to. But hopefully we have joyous things to talk about this year. And we're joined by an incredible panel, a full panel this time. So I am going to be struggling to manage these conversations, but no, it's going to be so saucy. Everyone in chat, thank you so much for joining us. You have been incredible this year to GameOnDaily. This is the year we launched officially, and you have been lovely. Please hit that like button, share it out. Let's get everything sourced up. I'm going to go introduce my lovely guest. I don't know where to start because I've got a multitude of faces staring at me, but I will do it in no particular order. Before I do that, always have to give a big shout out to my homie, your boy from another mother, Asa Walker. How you doing, sir?
What? Yeah, no, I'm good. This is actually this is pretty relaxing one for me. There's not too many buttons to press, so I'm going to sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah, no, this is nothing compared to your Technalysis videos. I'm sure this is going to be a chilled one. That's assuming JT doesn't break the internet again. We'll be good.
Maybe with just my choice of browser, who knows?
Yeah. Well, might as well start with you, JT. JT, thank you so much. We were one of the first guests that we had on Go Live as we started this summer. You are the proprietor of a great site called That Hitbox. Great journalist with positive vibes, positive energy, and just positive looking face. How you doing, sir? Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, man. I'm feeling really festive. I've got my Star Wars BB-8 jumper going on right now, so that's feeling good. I watched. Have any of you guys seen that the trailer for that game? It Takes Two. It's from the Joseph Fares.
No.
He's the guy. You know, he's the guy at the Game Awards who was like, "Fuck the Oscars." He plays this like he plays this like magical book in the game, and his whole energy is what I'm feeling right now. Like he comes in and he's just like, this isn't to be jolly, huh? And he's got the most terrible Mexican accent you've ever heard. I'm just feeling jolly vibes right now. That's where I'm at. It's good.
That's good, man. That's good. And thank you. And again, thank you for everyone joining us on Boxing Day. I know Boxing Day is a weird time to stream, but look, JT's happy. I'm sure you're all
hanging out, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Joining us again as well, Clayton from Cog Connected, a great website. Thank you so much. You were also one of the first joiners or panel guests on our show, and it's lovely to have you back and wrap up the year with your presence. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's great to be joined by JT again as well, and I'm looking forward to hearing from everybody else, all these fresh faces.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And thank you again, Clayton, for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then we've got Jason Ronald, Dreadpool, the proprietor behind Breaking Bread with Dread, panel member of a great podcast called Gaming Beyond the Blocks. By the way, everyone's stuff is linked in the description below. Dread, how you doing, sir?
Oh, I got to get myself unmuted. I'm doing great. It is the day after, food coma, and just trying to get ourselves going. And this is definitely a good way to start.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you are having a go at me for not. Where's my second invite? You will always be invited to the show. Remember, Dread, we are family.
Oh, I was just playing. I was.
No, but it's good to wrap up the year with your lovely presence and your warm beard to keep us company. Thank you so much. Joining us again, and I'm proud to have the Polish sensation, the genius. I'm always going to call you the Polish sensation. Thank you so much, Mads from Mads Gaming. It's an absolute pleasure, as always, to have you on here, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Always pleasure to be here, talk these topics and stuff. And looking forward to those topics that you haven't resent us really, but I'm sure we'll have something to talk about. So yeah.
Mystery topics.
Yeah, there are. So everyone, like in chat, viewers, I always send these guys like a PDF of topics. They're so spoiled because everyone's like, where are the topics? No, I'm not going to send you topics. You guys know.
Hey, listen, I was like sitting in front of my computer, like waiting for long list of topics and everything, like you always do. I was like, did he cancel the show or something? Right? He didn't send me anything. Like I was like, yeah. But then obviously you sent the link to the show, so it's okay, it's on. So yeah,
Yeah, no,
I'm just joking. I mean, we can talk all kinds of stuff without that, topic. So
I should have said that. I should have at least told you I was going to come, but I know all of you are seasoned here. You know what's going on, and this time I want to kind of freestyle it because it's the last show as well. Last, but certainly not least, is the first time he's appearing on this show. We've been on Mav's show together. Mav, aka Fun Speculation. Thank you so much. It's an absolute honor to have you on here. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, I am doing fantastic. Yesterday was a great day. I am honored that you asked me to be on the show the day after Christmas, what you guys call Boxing Day there in the UK. It's pretty awesome. So I'm excited to talk about these non-topics and have some fun.
Don't you call it Boxing Days in Stacy there?
I didn't hear. I've never heard of Boxing Day until like a few years ago. But hey,
I actually thought that was more of an American thing, really. Than
maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe I've just been clueless my whole life.
It's not an American thing. That's for sure.
No.
Is it not the Simp Army? Where are you from, Simp Army? Because he says yes, we do call it Boxing Day. Oh well, I
know the Canadians do.
Yep, here in Canada.
Oh, Canada. See, they're like the spiritual successors to the Brits, so it's okay.
Of course. We're family.
Yeah, you've got the same. You share the Queen, so
exactly.
Look how quickly the Americans have just wiped their hands of the idea of Boxing Day. That's
we're all about it. We want to sit there and watch some boxing, and then we find out it's not this; it's something else.
Yeah. Dreadpool, your concept of what it should be is way better than what it actually is.
That's true.
When I was a kid, that's when I first heard about it. I was like, oh wow, who's boxing the day after? Like, all these fighters are going to be working out and and then they're going to sit down and eat turkey and then try to box it out again the day after. There's no way.
Why all the Boxing Day? We need a history lesson here.
Well, that's what I said. We just wrap presents up and we turn into a wrestling day for ourselves. We jump on the boxes and slam it on each other's heads.
Yesterday was Unboxing Day.
Unboxing.
I'm surprised we don't have many more videos because of that. Thousands per person.
Twitter would be going crazy with everyone unboxing all their presents. We did see a bit of it, but not as much as I thought. Which is
Check
good
it out! I got a Christmas cup.
I got socks.
And it works.
Yeah. So I mean, Boxing Day or not, we are wrapping this up hopefully with positive vibes. But we all know this year's been a bit of a shit year, and that shit year has spilled out to the gaming industry. Before we talk about more positive topics, I will talk about what the COVID-19 has done, not just for us as gamers, but for the industry. You can't ignore its horrible impacts. We've lost loved ones. It's been a terrible year, but gamers have remained resolute despite all of that. This medium has brought us together. We're all here together, and we're part of this amazing community. But cannot ignore the negatives that have happened, and even in the gaming space. One thing that has really badly one company that's been really badly affected, and all its fans, are CD Projekt Red. And what you'll see from the title for this video, it's one of the topics we have to discuss. A lot of controversy is going on. I don't need to tell, unless you've been living under a rock, you know what's happened. Cyberpunk 2077, a game that's been in the work for like more than a decade, has released in an unacceptable state on last-gen consoles particularly. It's caused PlayStation to pull it from its digital store, and it's just it's been a bit of a mess. And now we're hearing that there are class action lawsuits afflicting the company. I wanted to get this panel's view on things, and I want you as well in chat, because I am keeping an eye out on all the comments, just to get your view on things, because from social media and some articles, and I know we've got two journalists here, and this, as always, everything's a bit polarized on the internet. On the one hand, you'll have a really strong view. They're saying it's unforgivable, it's been in the work for ages, CD Projekt Red are accountable for it should have never shipped to this state. The other side says, oh, no, but Cyberpunk is a good game minus the bugs. It's okay, it'll be sorted out in a few months' time. I want to get your views on it. Hopefully you'll have differing views. I know mine is slightly controversial maybe because I've had a bit of a tit for tat on social media, but I'm going to pick someone from Mads. Tell me, what's happening with Cyberpunk? Do you think it's forgivable, what's happened? And are you willing to forgive CD Projekt Red?
And are you playing the game yourself?
Yeah,
well, first of all, obviously, releasing games in such state as they released Cyberpunk, well, at least on the base consoles, obviously it's not really acceptable, right? I mean, let's face it. Nobody really wants to pay $60-$70 for a broken game, right? Now, I'm one of the lucky ones that I'm actually playing on Xbox Series X, so it's not too bad. I mean, actually, the actual experience is pretty good, right? I even played that game on PC and even on Xbox Series X, at least after those 2 patches. The game actually looks good and play good as well. But generally speaking, I would say that, the whole lawsuit and that kind of stuff, I think they deserved it. And, this is not to say that, CD Projekt Red is a shitty company or whatever, right? But what they did in terms of communication and in terms of misleading people and gamers and journalists, at least in my opinion, because the fact that they did send only PC code for reviews and stuff. I mean, yeah, I know. People were saying, oh, they are hiding something, and kind of a lot of people were kind of saying that, oh, there's something fishy going on there. But I don't think that even those people were actually expect what was to follow. So it's kind of complicated because if you look at the whole communication, right, and the PR side of things, well, they lied and misled people, right? So I think that the fact that they are being sued right now, hey, I mean, they deserved it. If they lied and there's if there is a law that would say, okay, so they did wrong, they should be punished for it. I mean, yeah, why not, right? To me, it's I really like CD Projekt Red as a developer, right? For what they do, for the games they make, right? Like Witcher 3 and now Cyberpunk 2077. I enjoy that game, but at the same time, I'm not blind to the fact that they lied, that they did something that they shouldn't have done, right? So, if anything, I just hope that this is going to be a lesson not only for CD Projekt Red, but also for other companies to basically not do the same, just don't do this. And just last word on that, really. If you look at what they've been doing with those patches and that kind of stuff, right? In 2 weeks, they improved the performance of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 version quite dramatically. A game that would run at 50 frames per second, now it's running at 22 to 24 frames per second. And it's not perfect, but it's running better. So looks like they are capable of probably fixing that game sooner or later. So in my opinion, what they should have done, if they knew that these base consoles are, or the version of the game is not ready yet, they should have released that game on PC and said, okay, you know what, we will release this game on PC because it's ready, but the console versions will come out in February, March or something, right? Yes, they will lose a little bit of money probably because, I don't know, because, usually some people would buy on PC or whatever, right? But, and probably, another delay would cause them some drop in terms of market share and that kind of stuff, right? But right now with what's going on, they lost 30% of the share values and that kind of stuff for basically lying. If they were more upfront and basically truthful, I mean, everyone would be just totally fine with it, right? But now
you say that, but remember the delay that happened beforehand, and the multitudes of delays this title has had, but like 2 this year, and the point where we had that yellow little screen, that message that CD Projekt Red used, that template has almost become a meme at this point. Like when they did have that announcement of a delay, everyone went up in arms like, oh god, but you know, people will still inevitably complain.
I mean, yeah, look, but listen, there is a difference between people complaining about a company basically doing the right thing, because hey, if for whatever reason the product that they are trying to release is not ready, right? So, you know, hey guys, you know, we're just telling you as it is, we need more like additional 2-3 months, you know, just, you know, stick with us, right? And we will deliver as soon as the product is done. And what they've done is right now is that like they released unfinished product, you know, now they are getting all this flack because of it. Like people are getting angry, even more angry, to be honest with you. You know, there's like bunch of refunds and that kind of stuff. And, you know, like it's, you know, like, hey, I mean, they will still make a ton of money on that game anyway. I mean, apparently they sold like 13 million copies, despite the fact that I think that, you know, that didn't even include the refunds, right? So, hey, I mean, they made a lot of money anyway, but, you know, the fact that they, you know, that did hurt them PR-wise, in my opinion, right? So will take them a bit to recover, in my opinion, right?
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing. That's a question I'm going to ask JT. Were you asleep there for a second? Because it looked like you were listening.
Well, I've been trying to keep track. First of all, I listened to every syllable. First of all, secondly, I'm keeping track of the chat of people going, right, time to now get on JT's case. Like I was replying to a tweet and sharing this very live stream with everyone. Yeah. So I was, and you can verify it, baby. You can check my Twitter. So I was.
No one believes you. No one in chat believes you. Everyone is thinking the same thing. Tony said, "Is he sleeping?" And I just look back and I just see heavy breathing.
Why does Tony hate me? Why does Tony hate me so much? Where it's like on Tolkien's time to destroy me. What's going on? I get it.
It's a great day to pick on JT.
See, that's it, man. Anyway.
But going back to the topics, do you think, JT, that this whole fiasco, I mean, what side of the fence are you on? On the side of, it's going to be okay, it's overblown, or CD Projekt Red deserve their comeuppance? And also, do you think this has done irreparable damage to their reputation?
I don't think it's done irreparable damage. I think anything can be course corrected. Look at 343. I think, you know, after what was a fairly underwhelming showing of Halo Infinite.
They still haven't course corrected.
No, they've got a long way to go, don't get me wrong, but they've at the very least shown that they were willing to delay it enough to get it right. Yeah. And I think Halo Infinite's delay has proven that actually that would have been the better call for CD Projekt. Yeah. I'm hoping that they can in some ways be a trailblazer for that and show, yes, I know we fucked up. Yes, I know that we've had to push what was going to be the launch game for Series X 12 months later, but I think it will ultimately make a better game, and that factors into a lot of the decisions we made as a site where we actually decided not to cover Cyberpunk because of the state it was in. To me, and I don't know, this would be a really interesting thing to throw out to all of you guys because I know you have such different backgrounds and will have a perspective on this. My thinking was that since the PC version seems to be the version that was shown off for the last 3 years, but the one that seems to be at the very least living up to the expectations people had for this game, which were already pretty stratospheric. For me personally, I think it should have been a PC early access release and console should have been delayed. Oh yeah. The tricky part of that though is where we have to put the business hat on, where for so long this had been marketed as, you know, one of the last great hurrahs for last gen. It would have come out well before the next gen consoles arrived if it had hit one of its 17 original dates. But without a next gen optimized patch, this is so clearly a last gen game that just wasn't ready. So for me, that was my take as a gut feeling. It should have been a PC only, treated like early access, and I mean, what do you guys think about should they have scrapped the last gen version?
Well,
And
let me deflect. That's a very good question. In fact, that was something that I was going to ask, and it's a very, very important question. My view would have been yes, but that'd be
Right.
controversial. What would Mav? What do you think? Do you think that would you say after all the mess that we've endured that it's probably best to scrap the current or last gen versions? Or
Yeah, I have to stop laughing first because my wife just texted me and asked if Jay was sleeping.
You know what I'm gonna do? If I have to do any sort of PR tweets while I'm like spreading the word of this stream, I'm gonna hold my phone here so my eyes can be there.
Yeah. So I have a lot of mixed feelings on this because from what I've been playing a great experience, right? It's got bugs just like any other massive, huge game like this, right? When it launches, but I'm playing on the Series X and I'm lucky to be able to do so, right? I think the problems have compounded themselves because of the messaging from CD Projekt Red, and that goes back to when the game was marketed, everything they showed ahead of time, what the copies that were sent out to reviewers, and the apology letter. I think the apology letter that they had sent out did more damage actually for everything with this game than anything else. When they said, hey, we know the game sucks on old consoles and we didn't pay enough attention to it. We're sorry, go get your money back if you want. Like,
it's madness, isn't it?
That was crazy. How about just, hey, we're going to work on this. We're apologize for the condition currently. A patch is coming in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, say something like that. Instead, you're just saying, hey, everybody, we screwed up. Get your money back. And then all of a sudden now Sony pulls it from the store, right? Because guess what? People are asking for their money back, right?
Wow.
And they still want to play that game.
You know? Wow, that's a surprise. You know? No, of course it's not a surprise. So a lot of the damage that is caused and everything that is going on, they've inflicted on themselves. Now, here's the other issue, is that really, if you look at it, comparing it to other games that have launched this generation, and also going back for years now, a lot of games that are massive and huge like this have a lot of these same problems when they come out. Especially this one now, it's kind of like a really ambitious title, right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to make it run on hardware that's 7 years old, right? And also hardware that's cutting edge and brand new at the same time, which that version has not even technically released yet.
Yeah.
On consoles, right? This is a last gen game. And when they said we didn't pay enough attention to the Xbox One and the PS4 version, which you've been developing for 7 years, just kind of like slap people in the face with that one, right? So, but when you have this this game and it has these problems, but you got to compare it and say, okay, Call of Duty's been broken. It's been crashing all over the place. Watch Dogs Legion has save issues, and they've had a lot of bugs and problems. You got to hold everything to the same standard. This game has a standard that is above everything else because of the hype that has been generated also, where people have this expectation. And
don't you think that the additional time that it's been gestating in development means that it then assumes a higher standard? You can't have the benefit of all this hype and then say, hey, by the way, just judge us by everyone else's standard, because you're riding on something positive and you're taking advantage of that. In fact, they took advantage of it so much they released the game in the state that it's in, banking on all the hype, and then it just all fell flat. So maybe can you not argue that, hold on, they should be held to a higher standard?
They can be because of the marketing that they put behind this. And so when you're marketing it like they have, where it's the biggest talk, where they keep having these hour-long presentations, all these commercials, all this advertising, hey, we're the next biggest thing in gaming, the most anticipated title hands down in years, you are going to have that expectation, but it's an expectation that they put on themselves when they even announced the game. They said it's going to be way bigger than anything they've ever done before, way better than anything they've ever done before. So that everything that is the problem now has been self-inflicted. There's a thing with business called setting expectations, right? And if you set your expectations to an unreasonable mark and then you land below that, you're going to have people that are angry. If you set your standards to a place where people are going to be reasonable, and then exceed that, people are going to be happy, right? So if you come below those expectations, you got a lot of pissed off people, and especially when you say, hey, come get your money back, right? That's just like, It's just weird, right?
It's bizarre, isn't it? Like the idea that they sort of said, well, we didn't realize just how shit those console versions were, and that was somehow justification for what they've now done. It's very strange.
Imagine a world when that letter just said, "We apologize for the state that the game shipped in. We were trying to get it out to you before the holidays. There's a patch coming within 2 weeks." Right?
Yeah.
The whole mindset of everybody would be completely different at that point. People would have gotten the patch. People would still be talking about the good experience they're having on next-gen consoles. A year or two from now, it's not even going to be talked about because everybody's going to have the next-gen consoles, going to have the next-gen patch, and this is going to be an afterthought. But right now,
interesting point.
It's what it is, you know.
Yeah, so. Do you think, Dread, going to you? Do you think this will be an afterthought? One, have you actually played the game? And two, do you think this will be an afterthought, like Mav says, later on in a couple of years? You're muted yourself, by the way.
Of course, I'm muted. I'm sitting on the fence with everything that everybody says. I agree with them. I also have my views. I am actually playing on the Series X with the game, but I've also dropped back down to the OG 1X fat VCR. I'm sorry, not 1X, just the one. Why not? I want to see.
You want to see?
I said the same thing with Halo Infinite. I want to see if it can play on this console all the way up to the highest console. I want to see the differences. Why not? Right? So, and a lot of the images we've seen, and I've said this before on Gaming
Beyond the Box.
Gaming Beyond the Box. That when you look at some of these images, they look fabricated. Okay, so that was one of the other reasons I wanted to sit there and see myself how bad it really is before I say, okay, it truly is fabricated. And I think it truly is fabricated. I have to go into one of the earlier missions where you run into the bar and you have to sit down and talk to the bartender and you know, okay, so I'm in that bar and I'm running around. And on the internal hard drive, okay, mind you, it's a spinner drive. As soon as I walk up to somebody on the opposite side of the bar and I have to sprint for this to happen, their face is blurred and then it comes in within a second. I expanded it to the external spinner drive. Same thing. I've got a Samsung 860, which is a SATA 3 drive, and I have a Samsung 970, which is an NVMe. I do the same thing for those. Everything's there. Everything's there. So no matter how fast I try to run around in the bar and look, everything's already loaded. Only one time, and that was on the external drive, did I have this weird phase-looking thing on my screen that was a glitch.
But not everyone's going to have an SSD plugged into their console.
No, that was my point. But I did it with those to see, and I also did it with the internals. Okay, so the internals is a stock drive there. Day one, I mean, that's basically a day one batch, but it's not day one. But still, did not have that issue like everybody else was showing, unless I was a PlayStation 4 one. But I thought the Xbox was doing, less than a PlayStation 4 because PlayStation 4 is so much more powerful. But I'm still not having the issues with this. I'm having fun with the game. You know what I mean? So it just depends on where you're sitting. You enjoy the game, it's not a big deal. Think about when Star Wars, for those of you that were old enough to see the original trilogy, and then you go and see the prequels and you're like, what the hell is this? This isn't my Star Wars, right? Your hype level is so much because we're going to see this Star Wars and you're like, what did I just watch? Okay. When you hype something up so much, and this is what the company did. Okay. This is what they're what the heck?
You're going to say management, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah, technically. But their marketing, right? They hyped it up, so they did expand on it. And us as fans, what are we coming off of? We're coming off The Witcher 3, which is one of the best games. But did we also forget The Witcher 3 when it came out had its flaws too? They were going to tank the company too. Not this bad.
I think so.
Yeah,
but they were going to tank the company too.
But Witcher 3 didn't have as many issues as Cyberpunk has got.
But Witcher 3 also didn't have the hype. That
And you're talking.
That's why I say I sit on the fence when it comes to this because they did it to themselves. We also did it to ourselves.
So it's good that Dread is saying though, like they did that to themselves. But if you look at CD Projekt Red as a company and their history, they self-published The Witcher 1, they self-published The Witcher 2 as PC-only games, and they were very good to people that bought those games in the way that they released like content post-release and stuff, and they got this reputation as being an industry darling. Then they expanded massively to do The Witcher 3, but they had a publisher for that was published by Bandai Namco. So effectively, they've done, the hype has got away from them. They've ridden it. They've let that happen. They've not controlled it at all, and they've set these massively high expectations. But at the same time, this marketing team that have made so many mistakes in the run-up and post-launch should come out in unison and say, "Sorry guys, it's my first day." Because it's their first big release, and they've fucked it up royally.
Yeah, the marketing fucked up.
But it's just beyond anything they've done before, and yeah, it's a shame.
We have to think too. There's a lot of people that aren't like us playing this game too, where we understand a lot of these issues because this game has so much hype that there's a lot of people that are buying this game that are more casual gamers that aren't used to like, hey, understanding that these games are sometimes going to have issues and stuff, right?
That's actually a really good point. Is that I know that there's a huge proportion of gamers, particularly on like say Xbox One, PS4, who don't really play online. You know, they'll buy like 1 or 2 games a year, but maybe they caught onto the Cyberpunk hype train.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not following CD Projekt Red on Twitter for the yellow updates of Doom.
And all they've seen is the stuff that CD Projekt Red has posted, which is on like crazy high graphics card PCs, right?
Yeah.
And they expect their Xbox One or PS4 to look like that, and they don't have any kind of concept of, you know, this is not actually what I'm supposed to be getting. You know what I mean?
Because also their frame of reference would be like, well, FIFA looks great.
Yeah.
So it is that sort of, there is, I think that because, well, look at the sales. I mean, 13 million is that's not just hardcore gamers. If you're selling to 13 million people since launch, there's going to be a large proportion of people that will have bought this and just not had a clue about the PC version, or the fact that is clearly the one that's been shown off in trailers. Their metric for this game's success was the console that it's been advertised for since the start, and it looks like that.
Yeah,
So,
seriously.
fascinating, really is. And what a piping hot shit show this whole thing has been.
That's why I like, despite the fact that I don't like what CD Projekt Red did as a company, you know, PR wise and that kind of stuff, I'm actually really enjoying the game, and I would never say to anyone, you know what, like, don't play that game because it's whatever, right? I mean, you know, like, I mean, if you bought it, you want a refund, that's like, I mean, hey, you know, kudos to you, right? I mean, it's your money. If you don't like the experience, you know, get the money back, right? But if there's so many people that actually enjoy this game, but at the same time, like, you know, we were talking about like this lawsuit, right? I mean, hey, if there is a reason, if they can actually really sue them and kind of punish them a little bit, I don't see any reason why they couldn't do it, really.
I can tell you why I don't like that idea, though, man.
And I would not even feel sorry for them, to be honest with you, because they did lie at the end of the day.
Well, they did. Yep. This game should have been, as it always was, made for the last gen consoles, right? And why do I have to run around to see all this to kind of prove that, okay, you have to do this to see this, you know, where these guys, I mean, it should be already set up like this. I mean, granted, the series and the PS5, they're playing BC games right now, so they're having no issues, but throw that out the window. Why are they not concentrating on, you know, when they fix these things and they release these games? It should have been not fixing, it should have been concentrating on the original consoles of last gen and the PC version. That should have been it. You know, the benefit.
Sorry, no, go on.
The benefit is the fact that we have these next gen consoles that are playing it BC, which opens up the ability if there's any frame issues because of limitations of the CPU, if there's limitations because of the GPU. Okay, and I know it's not. It's more of an APU. Let's put it that way, because it is a console, but those limitations are there on those old gens, and you're trying to do something more. When I talk to a game dev and they're saying, hey, look, you know, they're doing stuff here that no other game has done before. They've taken a lot of risks, so there's going to be some bugs there.
Do you think that at a certain point in the development of CD Projekt of the game of Cyberpunk, that it so clearly became a next gen game in scope, but it was almost like a sum cost, that they put so much effort into the old consoles that to me it feels like a disconnect
Yes.
What do you think about that, man? Because that, I was really intrigued by your point about testing the load time of those character models, and it feels like it so desperately was a game that outgrew its hardware, but they didn't cancel it.
That's a very good way of actually, but I've never heard anyone say it well.
I do think it's like that. It's basically, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to implement all the new stuff that was coming and get it in there, so that way when they transition, because right now you got some high-end PCs, right? And then the low-end PC that was supposed to be what, a 1080, and now it's a 2060, right? What I forgot the minimum specs were for PC, but they jumped it the day before they released it. So obviously they knew that they were gonna go this way and try to produce the next gen. Next year we have the Xbox and the PlayStation next gen versions coming out. So I do think that they got to a certain point and they kind of forgot about it because they're prepping for the next gen to make that easy transition. You know, at the same time, PC looks great.
Yeah,
it's the biggest mistake was they didn't get those next gen patches ready for launch.
Yeah, I think that's a tool side as well. I mean, I really, when that does come, and if it does look anything remotely close to my PC experience, I think that will restore a lot of good faith. But Clayton, you know, you write for COG Connected, and I'm just pulling up your review on GameOnDaily. Well, it's not yours; it's actually your colleague Paul Sullivan. Do you agree with his review? Because it's quite a good review, but very scathing in its review score. If you just don't just base it on that, obviously, but it's 40 out of 100, or 4 out of 10. He gave it, and to summarize, he said great art design and the Johnny Silverhand quest were the positives. The negatives were, and I quote, buggiest game ever, extremely imbalanced and terrible user interface. I actually agree, especially the user interface bit, but that's a scathing review. I'm not saying it's wrong. What's your view on that? Does that reflect your view? Because obviously they're all subjective anyway.
I would say that before the patch, that kind of fixed a lot of the issues. It was in that state where it deserved that kind of score. I think Paul would kind of update the score at this point. But the timeline of Cyberpunk 2077 kind of reminds me of the flight of Icarus from Greek mythology, where it it's riding on this hype so much and flying closer to the sun, and then it just burns on impact. And it was, you know, it fizzled away. And even though it sold 13 million, now we have lawsuits that'll probably be successful because of the false advertisement.
Yeah, I mean,
got its wings burnt. Clay, thank you so much for that. Can I have your permission live on air to steal that when I'm talking to other people about it?
All right, sure.
That is, and I will give you full royalties, of course, every time I say it out my mouth. That is that could be like a back of the box quote to be like, yes, Cyberpunk got its wings clipped. Like that's amazing.
They use that kind of in Deus Ex, with Deus Ex Mankind. I think that has a very similar kind of vibe as well. And I guess it's a shame, but it kind of speaks to how serious COVID-19.
Deus Ex. I thought you said Deus Ex. I was like, what is this game I'm missing out on?
I thought the same thing.
Pre-order now.
Actually, I wanted to speak on something Ace said too.
Yeah, go ahead.
He said that The Witcher 3 was published by Bandai Namco, and I'm thinking after all of this, Cyberpunk probably should have had a publisher externally from CD Projekt Red, because I see a lot of people separating the suits and the developers, but they both work for the same company, so you can't really do that.
So, and I'm glad you've said that, because I want to get your view on this panel, and guys in the comments. I'm reading all of your comments, and I will try and weave your comments into this chat as well, because there's a view again. Well, okay, everything else was split and polarized, but on this point, it seems to be most people are saying, or from what I'm seeing, is it's not the developer's fault. It's the management. They are all to blame 100%. This is what people are saying. 100% the management's fault. Nothing to do with the developers. They set unrealistic deadlines and all sorts. I haven't seen any kind of insight into this. I haven't seen any, I've seen some speculative stuff that maybe staff are annoyed at management, but nothing concrete. Mads, what do you think about it? Can you say, oh, it's really the management's fault? Do you think it's management and not the devs who are working hard to fix the game? Or working on the game?
I mean, I guess so. I mean,
Who do you
I
blame?
mean, I mean, management is part of the company, right? So if we're talking
Yep.
about like a CD Projekt Red as a whole company, it's rather difficult to kind of, disjointed or whatever, right? But if we are looking at like management and the actual developers working on the game, coding and creating the assets and that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously, those guys making the actual game, they are not responsible for decisions, right? I mean, obviously, we don't have any insight into how the development, was progressing throughout the years and stuff. Like, who knows? Maybe development team is to blame for some bugs or whatever as well. We don't know, right?
Right, exactly.
So it's always easy from where I sit. Oh, it's management fault because they are to blame because poor developers, they are working hard and their managers just want to earn money and they want to make money for investors and that kind of stuff, right? And shareholders. And hey, that might be the case as well. But the fact of the matter is, we don't really know how development process looked like throughout the years, right? Maybe there was some mistakes. Maybe, I'm not trying to say that developers were lazy or whatever, right? But, without that insight into the whole development process and stuff, it's really difficult to say. Like, at first glimpse, I mean, I would say, the management is to blame because, if development team was feeding them with the information that, hey guys, that game is not ready to be released, and they, despite the fact they still released it, they said like, fuck it, right? Hey guys, I don't care. We need that game on that date. Well, that's on management, right? So it's really difficult to say, but at the end of the day, management is responsible for strategy, all these big decisions, release dates, and that kind of stuff. So I would say that I guess they are partially to blame as well. Whether I would blame developers, well, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe somebody made some mistakes and stuff as well. But at the same time, if management is there to actually correct any issues, right? If they like during the development process, if they are seeing that there's some issues with particular team working on particular part of the game and stuff, they are there to make decisions whether to hire more people or I don't know, get rid of people or some people because they are doing crappy job, right? Management is there to actually make those decisions, right? So hey, it's like with Halo Infinite, right? Phil Spencer came out and he said basically, hey, it's on me that Halo Infinite got delayed. He took all the blame on him, right? Because he's at the top of the management, even though he's not really there and he's not making the game. He's not directly responsible for any delays and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, he's got people under him that looks over the development process. So, hey, maybe there was some issues with, information flow or something. So at the end of the day, management is to blame, really.
Oh, so you've actually gone back and now you've definitely
circle.
Not blame management. You don't know anything. At the end of it, he just convinced himself that management are to blame. I love
that was the
well, at the beginning he did say, I guess.
Sometimes you gotta talk it out. That's all.
Matt was making his mind up as he was talking. He's like,
You're the most amazing politician. You would vote yourself out of office.
He's going to find a point in there somewhere.
Hey, listen, I'm looking for a new job. Who knows? Maybe instead of IT work, maybe I'll just, find
I believe in myself, but don't vote for me.
Maybe I'll become a politician. Who knows?
Most politicians talk in circles anyway, so he would be a good politician.
Yep.
You dressed up for a job interview. You're wearing a smart shirt and everything. It's
yeah. I'm getting ready. So
thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Because they had a year to fix it and still failed. Blame falls on everyone.
Exactly.
Everyone in society. Everyone.
Everyone.
Everyone. No, but and they've had more than a year to work on the game. Whether to fix it, I don't know. But yeah, Mads has changed his mind like through no convincing. I want to get your view on this dread. Who's to very quickly? Who's to blame? Management, devs, both.
Everybody, but management takes the fault, because that's just like Matt said. Phil Spencer took the fault. Whoever's the leader takes the fault of their subordinates. So even if the subordinate did the right thing and said, "Hey, look, this should not go out. This is not ready," they should have made a better stand for their supervisor to also acknowledge that and make a better stand as it goes up. Somewhere in that chain that there was a kink, and that's what happened, and all of a sudden now it's like, oh, this game was great. No, you know what I mean? So they're all to blame for making sure that management understood that the game wasn't ready, even if they lied about it or didn't. We don't know the facts behind it, but unfortunately, as it goes up the chain, whoever's the top dog there, they need to take the blame for it. But they're all at fault.
Is liable, but I don't think this. And a lot of people in chat are saying, management are definitely at fault. They are at fault. They'll always be at fault. Whether the devs can be, exonerated
But we also, on the other side of it, we also don't know if management said, "I don't care. This is pushing out."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we don't know. We don't know the inside where this whole thing falls apart, and then all of a sudden it becomes a good game.
So
You have to say
yeah,
some sympathy to the people at the top, though, because the structure of the company we don't know, and like other people have said, we had no insight, so we can't attribute blame. In theory, accountability floats, and the people at the top definitely should take their share of responsibility. But if you look at that games development cycle, you've got 8 years there. If the mandate for those developers was to make something like The Witcher 3, but in a futuristic cyberpunk setting, you've got 8 years, go. It's quite hard to say that they were successful in that. So it's a tricky one. And unlike, so JT was saying earlier, maybe they should have delayed it like Halo Infinite was delayed. CD Projekt Red don't have the same luxury as 343. They don't have Microsoft standing over them with infinite money. They've got loans and bankers. And
no, but I suppose.
But that's the point. That's the point. It's really well put, as always, Asa. The fact that they have external pressures, they've got the bank to contend with, they've got investors, all sorts. So you say, to delay it, you don't know. There are deadlines. The devs may, and I'm not saying this before you guys, flambe me on social media, but the devs' inability to adhere to deadlines could be a problem for them, where I would attribute blame to them, just like in every business. If you fail to do that, you're at fault. So I can't, without the insight, without someone in chat said, "Oh, the dev team didn't even know the game has gone gold until they saw it on social media." If that's true, that's terrible. We don't know that.
I heard that too.
Yeah, without Clay, without having that insight, how can you take such a strong stand like Mads? Yeah, let's throw Mads on the flame. Do you agree, Clay, that we just don't know?
Yeah, because of how much we don't know, I just attribute blame to everybody for now. And I'm kind of thinking, like, in previous instances, people weren't separating the developers from the management, like with EA and Anthem, for example. People were saying EA, fuck EA, all that. They weren't saying management at EA. So there's some sort of disconnect with CD Projekt Red, where even if they fail, people are apologizing for them.
Yeah. Thank you, Clay, for saying that. Not that I agree with what he's saying, but I do agree with what he's saying. Thank you for doing it.
I got the sauce, bro, just like you.
Clayton's got the sauce. I want to move on from CD Projekt Red, because it's just going to be a lot of it speculative. But we've got really good views from everyone, particularly Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've got everyone's view about Mads changed his mind live on air. It's brilliant. No, it's really good. And I mean,
listen, I'm kind of weird like that, but it's a Polish thing, so
It's a Polish thing. No,
we are
don't consign an entire race.
Actually, not.
Mads, you're just polishing.
Yeah, it's an iterative process, much like their release schedule.
Giotto says Cyberpunk gave me an erection for 2 weeks straight. The game ended, and so did my. Okay, I shouldn't have read Thank you for that, Sicario. Very insightful. We needed to know that. But on PC, he is a proponent of PC. If you do play on PC, it is incredible. As in, it is the best looking game I've ever played, even though it doesn't run amazingly well. But yeah, when the next gen patch comes, maybe you guys are right, because most of you are saying that this will be a forgotten thing, that they will somehow manage to reinvigorate the hype or whatever, blah blah blah. I don't give a shit anymore. Let's just move on to the next topic, because Cyberpunk is a stark reminder to everyone else who's watching in the game industry, like how badly it can go wrong, even with a title that has had so much hype, with such a sure thing with CD Projekt Red, which makes me look at Halo Infinite. I've been a very vocal critic of what 343 have been doing, even though I am one of the biggest fans of Halo. I just want to get your panel's view and your guys in chat. Are you with me when I look at Cyberpunk? I think, oh, thank God they delayed Halo Infinite. Can you imagine if the same shit happened to Halo? They had the balls to, and I think we have to take a moment here to recognize that it takes massive cojones to delay Halo, which is synonymous with Xbox, with their hardware launch of their title, which would have been a very difficult decision to make. And the fanboy wars, that's a big L for Halo and Xbox, especially with the June reveal that was so lackluster. But Bonnie Ross has come out this week and she pointed out to the delay. She pointed out the delay and said it's a good thing. And she said the Halo delay will enable them to deliver the game Halo fans deserve. Now, that's a high bar anyway. Again, Halo fans have got, some stratospheric levels of hype. I'm there with them. I just want to get your guys in chat. Do you think Halo will bring it back? Will restore what they've shown off? On Mav, I want to get your view on it. Do you have confidence in 343 after all the shit that's happened? Do you think Halo Infinite, and we will go back to this when the game launches, and remember your words, everyone's words, including you in chat.
I'm banking on it.
Yeah. Do you think Halo Infinite will deliver?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's going to deliver. I think the main thing with this that people were complaining about was visual issues, right? I didn't see a lot of complaints over the feeling, the style that they were going after, and that's the heart of the game.
Yeah.
When you talk about Halo, it is not just a visual showpiece. It's a game that is fun to play. It has heart. It's about the characters. It's about the world that you create, not just ray tracing, right?
Yeah.
So we've seen Assassin's Creed Valhalla get massively improved before launch in a short window from one gameplay trailer to what we actually got when the game launched. We've seen other games get massively improved in short times, and they had a whole year to add polish on what was mostly a finished game. Yeah, I have faith in that. 343 has proven to be able to create really good-looking games. What's going to determine the success of this game is the story that they create in the campaign, because they're going to be judged based on Halo 5, and everybody hated the campaign in Halo 5 and the way that the story went. So when people are playing Halo Infinite, you can pretty much bank on it's going to have great multiplayer. You can bank that it's going to be fun to play, but will the story be good? And Joe Staten is there to make sure that they get that polished up right before, in this last year before launch, and make sure that it's what we want. And with him being there and as a new creative lead, actually with that, let's say there's one little thing he wants to tweak here and there, I think it's going to add up to a more polished experience. I am not worried in the least bit. I've never played a Halo that I did not enjoy. And will it live up to people's expectations? That's impossiable.
Yeah.
Right? With Halo, it's impossible.
Shameless plug to my Halo vid, where I said Halo Infinite could be one of the best Halo games we've had to date. I still stick by it, because Mav is absolutely right. It's the visuals that everyone's really underwhelmed by. You name me someone who is really... I can't think of one bit of criticism about the gameplay. Like, what has anyone had an issue with? I can't think of it.
I can't think of anything. When I saw that, I wasn't, here's another thing. If you want to talk about honest marketing, we all was like, oh, hey, what's going on with the visuals here? They were actually honest with what they showed, as opposed to a CD Projekt Red with what they showed in the lead up to the game,
Definitely.
right?
Yeah.
So that kind of put
Where was the pop in there?
right. So that kind of paused the brakes for a lot of people and said, hey, wait, we want this to look better. Then they delayed it, right? So,
yeah, actually,
there's a fair comparison there.
That's a very good point that I didn't actually
Great
take
point.
on. Yeah, that.
Yeah. Valhalla did the same.
Yeah, you do the same, Red, like that. I mean, that's admirable. I've only just realized, as Mav has just mentioned, that compare the two, that is very transparent and they have been super transparent. They even referenced Colt's video where he did some color correction to fix it. They've seen everything. They've tackled on every single point, from the pop-in to the LOD bugs to the lackluster visuals, the textures on everyone's face. I mean, CD Projekt Red, you may not have the bankroll of Microsoft behind you, but that doesn't preclude you for dealing with your messaging better. Look at 343 for that as a startling example of that, because it's much harder for 343 with Halo to do what they did than what you do with Cyberpunk, because we're used to your yellow screens of apologies. You could have been a lot more forthcoming. So, Dredd, do you think Halo will be good enough do you think?
Well,
why views on Halo 4 and 5 very quickly, and do you think Halo Infinite will be a Halo game to be worthy of the Halo name?
Well, 4 and 5 flip-flopped on their campaign and their multiplayer. So one was better one way, the other one was better the other way. Yeah. But I think overall they weren't bad. You know what I mean? So I got into them. I played the games. I loved them. I'm a Halo fan, right? But I also learned since Episode 1, Star Wars, not to get my hyped up and over. You know what I mean? Because ever since then, it's like, no, I'll just play the game for what it is, and let my enjoyment build from watching and playing, right? Because if I'm going to sit there and scrutinize every little detail, I'm never going to be happy. You know what I mean? Because if I'm going to sit there, it's going to take me forever to play the game, and I'm not even playing the game. If I'm going to screenshot everything and like, oh my God, frame by frame, here's what I found. All of a sudden something popped up. Yeah, I'm going to be jaded, because that's all I'm looking to be jaded on purpose. So is it going to live up to my hype? Probably not, but I'm also a huge fan that I will look at it and play it for how it is and what it is. If it's something glaring that's going to pull me away, then yeah, I'll say something. But other than that, I'll let it go. Just go on to the next scene, go on to the next, spot. And that's the thing everybody wants to do is hate on something, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to hate it. You're going to have the fanboys that no matter what they do, even if they're positive fanboys or negative fanboys, they're going to hate on it because of something. Sit back, relax, be a gamer, enjoy the game. If it's horrible, then yes, say something.
Yeah. But JT, you were on the show with us immediately after the reveal, actually, when we were early days. We didn't know what we were doing. But I think the two of the panel members have said that they believe in 343 and Halo, and they think it will deliver. Do you have confidence in Bonnie Ross and her team to deliver in Halo Infinite?
Based on what they showed in June, no. Based on the fact that they were willing to delay it, absolutely yes.
So you that the delay itself as evidence that this is
it shows that they're not trying to hit an arbitrary release window, because that was the thing they needed for their financial year. They've allowed the product to be the thing and the quality of it to lead their decision making. And I know, again, the parallel with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk is obvious there, but I think also, I'm glad you guys have touched on the fact that with Halo, it's more than just a visual showpiece. It is the feel of it. It is the co-op. And it's actually those things, like Halo 5 not having split screen. I saw that come up in the chat earlier. That was the real misstep there, and the fact that they've shown a willingness to, what it is they've shown a willingness to say publicly when they fucked up.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And weirdly, despite them acknowledging poor design choices or mistakes, that actually gives me more confidence that the end product will be better, because it's not just here's a thing that we've decided is right, and that led to Halo 4 multiplayer, and then the same thing happened with Halo 5's forcibly making you do online only co-op. So I think it's really great that they're being public and open about the things that don't work, and they haven't pretended that Brute looked good.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't. Didn't they say that Craig is going to get an upgrade?
Yeah.
Right?
So
Yeah, I think so.
in chat, will you guys miss Craig? Because you will not see Craig the same way again.
He's definitely in the game as like a low poly.
100%.
He's an Easter egg. You're going to wander into like 343 Guilty Spark's going to take you on a path, and it'll just be Craig and a campfire, baby. Like he's just going to be waiting for you.
And a lot of pop in as well.
Absolutely, yeah. If you turn away and look back with the wrong hard drive, then his face comes in. But yeah, I think that it's so exciting to me now that they're giving a thing that we all know we want to be great. They're giving it the time to cook. And I wish there are countless examples of games where you look at it and go, man, that needed another 6 months. And I wish they'd been given it. And for a team like that, like a quick fact check for me, how long has this game been in development for?
5 years, apparently.
5 years. And now Cyberpunk's even longer, right? And to put it out, and all the narrative about that, the broad narrative about that game is just look at the state of the console versions. Can you imagine how soul destroying that is? So I think, but then at the same time, as we discussed earlier, yeah, there's enough blame to go around. It's not just management, it's not just devs. But with Halo, there's expectations that are just through the roof.
Yeah.
They are giving it time to cook. I think they'll deliver.
Yep, I want Craig to be photorealistic. I want to see a photorealistic Craig version.
He
Okay,
needs a game. They need to make a game about him.
If I can't play as Craig in the multiplayer, I will trade my Xbox in.
we're gonna have an ODST version of Craig. It's gonna be the
Wait,
Craig.
okay, hold on. Now this is now we're just now
Right?
game development studio. I think a Lost Legacy style Craig spin-off, a solo DLC.
It's
Let's
called
make
the Craig
it happen.
Chronicles.
Yeah, absolutely.
A day in the life of Craig, life simulator. You walk around and you do chores, you know.
This
And
is
everything's
amazing.
popping in.
The end of the game
know
is when you
what?
run into the Master Chief.
If we can get the Minecraft character, if we can get Steve in Smash Brothers, Craig in Smash Brothers, I'm done. Like that's
That would be amazing. That's actually
Come
a
on.
great idea. I don't know what his moves would be. So Mav, Dread, JT all have confidence in 343. It's interesting to see how this is a massive turnaround, because if I asked you before their press release, I suspect this would be more split. Clayton, no. Clayton, what are your views on 343 and their ability to deliver a Halo game that we deserve? Do you have confidence in them? I think everyone in chat says they do. Chat, can you just say 343 yes if you agree 343 will deliver, or 343 boo or no or shit or whatever? Not shit, just say no if you don't disagree. I just want to get an idea. This is very different from a few months ago.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, I wasn't too miffed about the gameplay trailer before, but I'm glad people spoke up, because like you said before, Cyberpunk could have benefited from that kind of treatment. I definitely have faith in them though, and they're outsourcing to a lot of other teams to make sure it gets done.
Yeah. I mean, that's everyone in chat apart from Neo Wise says no. He says yes. So they are very confident in 343. It goes to show how the benefit of transparency. Asa, do you think that Halo Infinite will look? Well, I love taking you by surprise.
yeah, you give me shit for being asleep, but every time you do that, Acer always goes.
Terrible management of juggling things. I always forget. Asa, what are your? And this is the guy who always has the right answers. What do you think with Halo?
I'm not managing very much today. I'm having an easy time with this one, so it's a nice simple podcast just there. So I'm talking to people in the chat and having a lovely time. 343.
It's Christmas season.
Yeah, exactly. So 343, the thing that gives me some reassurance and some confidence is the blog post that they put out, the feedback that they put in there, the things that they are changing are very well targeted to the problems. So it's not just a load of fluff and like, we're going to make it brilliant, you're going to love it. They went very specific into, we know that the texture streaming wasn't brilliant, we're gonna fix that bit. We know that the lighting wasn't right, we know that the color palette wasn't quite there, and they were very, very specific about what they're fixing. And like I said at the time, it's relatively subtle changes will make a big difference to the presentation of that game, and they seem to recognize and acknowledge all the things that were wrong with it. We know that 343 have traditionally, so Halo 4 was probably the best looking game on the 360, one of the best looking games of that generation. We know they've got the talent to make a game that looks good. We know they can do good multiplayer from Halo 5. I think they've got the right people and the right ideas to fix it and yeah, put out a hell of a game. It doesn't mean that the press are going to love it. So Halo's going to be battling against ridiculous expectations. Yeah. Whether it can topple that is another question, but I think Xbox fans, yeah, they'll be in for a good time. Do
you think it can match up the expectations or the bar set by its 2018 demo, the tech demo for Split Space? Do you think it stands a chance? Because that looked really good. That was in unison. Everyone said, "Okay, that's impressive." Well, even though it's just textures and it's mostly textures and level of detail with the grass and stuff. Do you think?
Yeah. If you look at Gears 5, has to be the only kind of example of image fidelity that we can get a look at the moment on the Series X. It's within touching distance, so yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, and if you haven't seen anyone, Ace's tech analysis on Gears Hivebusters, do watch it. Digital Foundry,
which is great.
Digital Foundry are great, but yeah, Asa is a genius. But that's a good point.
Just as good.
Yeah, Asa's.
Thanks, but no, different. But...
Yes, he is. Matt, so Clay, everyone has agreed. Are you going to be bold and say, no, I disagree?
No, I'm not contrarian.
Yeah, you. Or do you think Halo? Well, remember, this is recorded in the history of time. So we will come back to this on the 26th of December 2020 when Halo does release. And Ace is very good at animating eggs on their faces, like he did with me when I said the Series S would never be under 300 pounds. So,
okay. I'll make a prediction then. I predict that Halo Infinite will be better than Halo 5 and 4. I don't know about 3 though. That's a high bar.
See, okay. Let me change. That's a very good point. The way you're framing that. And chat, if you disagree with me, let me know. But actually, can I get your view on the chat and panel? I think Halo Infinite cannot, and I don't give a shit if you don't care about Metacritic, but I think Halo should be nothing less than 90 on Metacritic. What I'm saying from that is that Halo has a high standard to achieve.
Yeah.
343 have flopped twice, partially. I want to get your view, guys, in chat. Do you agree with me? Halo has to be 90 plus on Metacritic, or otherwise it's failed. Yes or no? I just want to know that. Matt,
it can't.
It can't. Matt, you don't think it can?
I think there's too many haters out there, and not just fans, but journalism. Also, just looking for clickbait articles that are going to rate the game a 6 just for the heck of getting a lot of clicks. And that's going to be rated on Metacritic. So, when it's a game as big as Halo, I don't think it's going to happen.
Really glad you said that, because Metacritic is just, I always find such a poor metric for what actually the quality of something is. But it's a shame, isn't it, because so many development studios give bonuses to their devs based on the Metacritic score.
That's a terrible idea. That time has passed where we can really look at Metacritic as a bar.
Dude, I completely agree. I got rid of scores on my website for that very reason. Yeah, because I didn't want to feed into that.
That's very bold to do that. I think it's not the fact that the scoring point is broken, it's people's mentality about it.
Absolutely, and therefore that infects how they use the score.
Yeah.
To then generate clicks, etc.
Yeah. I think somebody at the time had rated Halo 5 like a 2 out of 10, and it was actually on Metacritic. You know what I mean?
It's Quarter to 3, funnily enough, maybe, but Quarter to 3 are a publication where one of the guys actually has a stake in Metacritic. He actually also appeared in the US version of The Office. He plays as someone's boyfriend, the gay guy's boyfriend in it, and he's actually the guy who owns, or is partially owner of Metacritic. I forgot his name, man. But Quarter to 3, that's the site. and he is notorious for giving low. I'm not throwing shade at him if he's watching this, but it's you're right, and people in chat disagreed with me. Neo says he don't think it will get 90. No way. Big sites will down score for clicks. Big Hus says that. Halo is divisive. It's so big that reviewers will judge it in some weird level. If you're a reviewer, and we've got two journalists here. Clayton, what are you going to do, man? Like, it's tough, isn't it, to review Halo as a Halo game in the midst of everything? Because Halo 5 with its shit story, I do say it's shit, it's still better than a lot of other first-person shooters out there. Not that I agree that you should ever take that and compare it with those. Halo's Halo,
Right.
but Matt, what do you think? What's your prediction for? I know Metacritic's bullshit, blah blah blah, but what's your prediction for Halo Metacritic? Guys in chat, I know you don't agree with Metacritic. What is the score you think it will get on Metacritic? Just so I understand.
First of all, I think that the game is going to be good, right? I mean, not saying that it's going to be like, fantastic. It's probably not going to bring anything like new to the table and stuff. But as long as they do stuff good, right? I mean, it should be just totally fine. And 343 Industries is capable of that. I mean, they did, a couple of, good Halo games. Unfortunately, Halo 5 had weak campaign, but very good multiplayer. Halo 4 was actually the other way around. I actually really enjoyed Halo 4 story and that kind of stuff, to be honest with you. It was more personal and that kind of stuff. I didn't like the, how they call it, Prometheans, I think, right? So I didn't really, sorry?
It was repetitive. I found.
Yeah, so I didn't enjoy that, to be honest with you. But the actual story and that kind of stuff, what was happening between Halo, Master Chief and Cortana and that kind of stuff, and the fact that he was really trying to save her because she was dying. Spoilers, everyone. I hope everyone played Halo 4 already, right? But anyway, so I really enjoyed that. So there is talent there, and so it's just a matter. I think that I don't know what kind of issues they had, because they've been making this game for over 5 years. So there were some rumors about the fact that they were changing game engines from Unreal 4 to that Slip Space engine, whatever, right? Which is supposed to be this proper next generation engine that will take full advantage of Xbox Series X and whatever, right? But so I think that the fact that they delayed the game, the fact that the game is pretty much finished, so they will have content-wise, right? So now they will have 12 months to actually polish everything out and really add whatever needs to be added, remove things that shouldn't be there and stuff, right? Hopefully nothing is going to be rushed anymore. And because Halo actually has a history of being rushed. Halo 2 is the best example, and funny enough, Joseph Staten was actually part of that project as well. I think he was there to save it. So it's actually funny that he's there, again working on another Halo game. So I'm very hopeful. As for the actual Metacritic, I don't think it's going to get 90 something on Metacritic. I don't think so, because what I find is that with those older IPs, it's really difficult to actually get those higher scores, because people are kind of it's really difficult to do something really fresh with these franchises. That has been on the market for a while, unless it's God of War that really really changed everything, to be honest with you. But hey, it's still going to be a classic Halo game. So maybe the fact that they are actually going to the roots and that kind of stuff, maybe that will help a little bit. Playing on the nostalgia thing and stuff, right? Who knows? But I don't think Halo is going to be anything, above 90, 85, 87. Look at
85 plus is what everyone in chat is saying. The only Mav, you think it's going to be an 80?
Just last word. And to be honest with you, like I don't think that Metacritic's these scores has anything to do with with a game's success, because like I have no idea what kind of Metacritic what kind of Metacritic scores Minecraft or Fortnite has, but these are some of the most successful games out there. So if Halo going to have a good campaign, fantastic multiplayer, and it's going to be free to play at the end of the day. I mean, I'm sure that Halo is here to stay.
No, they definitely had to stay when it's got a 10-year life cycle. I have to say, Dreadpool is awesome. Read that chat. But
Some big donos here.
it's a massive donation. CYV. I don't know if you've got a VPN or something. Doesn't matter, but I appreciate the sentiment as well. Thank you. It's just, I think, as a massive Halo is my number one franchise. Quake 3 is my number one game of all time, but I just think Halo has to be excellent. We have to hold it to a high standard. It has to be better than any other first-person shooter out there in its multiplayer and single player, because it has the potential to do that. And I just think, I don't know, maybe I'm unrealistic in my expectations, but everyone...
I just wanted to take something you said and what Mads said as well, and say that just like there's a reason you don't see commercials for expensive cars like the Lamborghini, there's a reason the developers at big studios behind games like Minecraft and Fortnite don't give bonuses for Metacritic scores. They're not chasing that, right? They already found their success. So
Yeah. Although I think I saw Lambo do an advert one time. But yeah, absolutely, I do agree.
Ferrari then, I don't know. F1.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, you're right. And let me go on record to say I don't take Metacritic as gospel at all. It's just, it aggregates scores, but the way it's done and calculates it is it's susceptible to trolling and people getting hits. And we've seen it time and time again. Mav, however, you have a very critical view of it. You think it's going to get 82 on Metacritic. How bad do you think this game is going to be? If it's at 82, it's got to have done something.
I think the game's going to be incredible. I just think there's so many haters out there of Xbox and Halo in general. And, at the end of the day, a lot of the journalists that write for these websites and magazines and everything are like what they like. And sometimes a person gets asked to review a game that they may not be a fan of. And Halo is a very polarizing game. Yeah. So there's going to be, just like Halo 5, Halo 4, and a lot of other games that, like, this even goes beyond Xbox now and beyond Halo, where you see games get trashed on by a lot of journalists, and the scores are actually calculated and given credibility by Metacritic, just because you have a person that has a strange opinion, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that they're wrong in what they think, but it's not necessarily the general consensus of everybody that is a fan of that product that is actually looking for that score. Like, why would you have somebody that doesn't like Halo review a Halo game?
Yeah.
When the people that are going to be looking at Halo on Metacritic are probably looking to buy the game, right? So
or an Xbox hater.
Right. So with a game like Halo, it's going to get all you got to do is look at the scores of games recently over the last couple of years. What is more popular currently, which things that have more bias currently have higher scores. Even Jedi Fallen Order has a 79 on Metacritic for PS4.
I know. That's mad.
That's crazy, right?
Crazy.
So Gears 5 has an 84. Right. Now, judging that game, shouldn't it be a 90? I mean, just personally.
Yeah, I disagree. Gears 5, no. No, I just think it needs to take a rest. But it was fine. It was a decent Gears game.
They need to ditch the cover-based, I think, mechanics.
But see, this is the kind of thing we talk about, like when Mads is talking about these franchises that have been around for a long time. We tend to like nitpick these little details because we love these franchises, and that's the kind of stuff that these games get reviewed on, as opposed to having a brand new experience and being like, oh wow, this is amazing. I've never done this before. This is cool. Instead, we're like, hey, I don't like how you can aim down sights in Halo now. That sucks. I'm going to give it a 6,
Sure.
But, that kind of
unrealistic.
And that's where I use the band
that speaks
analogy.
more to like a broader problem of like bitterness in some corners of journalism, I think, in the games industry. Just a sort of pervasive sense of weariness to a lot of the coverage.
Yeah, I think a lot of these are really old, senile, jaded reviewers.
Yeah, man.
Halo 5 has like a 55 on Metacritic from somebody, you know? And now you can say you don't like the story, but just in presentation and graphics and the amount of content and playability and all of that game, like there's a lot of work and effort, and it's a really polished, good experience. And to put something that has that much effort and passion from the developers and the company and say it deserves a 55 is just kind of like, and that gets weighted in with the other scores. And that's going to happen with Halo Infinite, just like these other big franchises. So.
But yeah, I agree with you that some reviewers do go mental, but I have to kind of defend the journalist. If 55 for Halo 5 isn't out of the question, if you can substantiate your views. You mentioned all the high production values, and
you
have a really high bar then the burden of proof is on you as a reviewer to prove or to kind of convince everyone that 55 is justified.
Exactly. If you can actually back up the fact that you've rated this particular game, given it a terrible score, then that's never a problem because you've justified it with evidence, even if it is subjective. You're ultimately, it's a subjective take that you've been able to back up yourself, as opposed to doing what you said, Mav, which is like, I don't like that the Needler's 2% less.
That's what happens, man. I'm telling you.
I know, dude.
It's crazy.
Yet another reason why we got rid of scores.
I appreciate that. Remember what happened with Forza Horizon, I think 3? One reviewer gave it 2 out of 10. Phil Spencer came out and said, look, these guys are... Then he said, look, I shouldn't have done that. But he called it out. But if you read that review from that publication, it's so shit. I'm sorry if the author is watching this. Shit review. You can't give it 2 out of 10 and then not substantiate your review. It was such a bad review. And that happens. And that single-handedly dragged the review score down, which sucks for a company like Playground Games.
And that's where it's broken, because a website like that will be validated by being included in Metacritic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we saw a magazine called Paste Magazine, which equated Cyberpunk to Hitler, and that magazine has been doing something like that with reviews for a very long time as well. It just came into people's limelight recently with that silly article. It goes to show what gaming media. Someone in chat says can be shit, which is why GameOnDaily exists, guys, because
Definitely.
the gents here submit their content there. You can create content there. You build a community to share and filter out the bullshit. That's why we created GameOnDaily. No cap. That's why we did it, and that's why the tools exist. So do check it out. I have to plug GameOnDaily. Sorry.
Dreadpool did a good job talking about how jaded not just reviewers can be, but culture lately is itself. And I think you guys at GameOnDaily do a great job in filtering out the jadedness as well.
Thank you.
I'm glad this has happened, because I know it might seem like we're just going, aren't we great? But it is a fair point, and it's a big reason, and I might as well say this now, a big reason of why I ended up jumping on any of this stuff with you guys. A, because you were so gracious to invite me, but it's because to me, you and Asa and what you built with GameOnDaily feels like a direct answer to, let's say it, M4G. That's just one tiny example of that jaded pessimism that seems to have permeated so much of the discourse. And I think being positive doesn't mean you have to be uniformly positive.
Exactly.
But at the very least, what you guys have done, I think it comes across with the kind of response you get in chat and the comments I know I've seen on all of your stuff, is that people want to listen to what we have to say, because at the very least we can back it up.
I appreciate that. That's why GameOnDaily exists, is because we will come out and defend. We're not overly gushing with praise. As you can tell, I'm a critical boss.
You got the sauce, bro.
I've got the sauce. That's right. We've all got the sauce. It's GameOnDaily isn't about us. It isn't just me and Asa. It's everyone here. It's you guys in chat. You guys can. We gave you the tools to do it. It sounds like marketing spiel, but it comes from a position of passion, because we have to control the narrative. Can't get some old jaded guy who just tosses off over like loads of hits for bullshit reviews that he gave to create more negativity. I'm not going to mention
Absolutely.
the other site's name, but that's what people do, and we don't want to give that. Game On Daily gives the tools. It's so open. It's a double-edged sword. But if the community stands steadfast, then you will control that narrative. Which is the whole point about why we spend our whole lives sacrificing stuff for Game On. Asa agrees with me, right? Asa?
Yeah, kind of. You're saying that about controlling a narrative.
No.
I think I am grateful for all of the wonderful
yes,
things.
I agree with you.
No, but I am grateful for all the things that everyone has said. And we have built a platform for people to build their own communities, but we're not trying to force any particular narrative on anyone. So people watching this thinking we're going to force positivity down your throat, not necessarily. We want you to build a community of like-minded people and see the stuff that is interesting for you personally. And if different communities flourish within that and find their own corner of news, that's great as well. So that is what we're about.
In my community, you get the source, like Clayton said.
Yeah, you can join the
That's
saucy
the point,
community.
isn't it?
that's
Is
fine.
it's not just one community. It's the idea we are able to justify any of the positions we hold, positive or otherwise.
Yeah.
So, and that's what makes the difference between, say, that sort of jaded fanboyism that you get with so many corners of internet discourse.
It's being
so, yeah.
critical the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you want to be negative, then we give you the tools to do that as well. Just you have your own community. That's your little safe space. Others want to go ahead and create a more positive vibe.
Well, I am going to have to contest you on safe space and I will read it exactly as written. Tony's just come into the chat and said, "Force it at Asa deep down that throat," which is not okay. I'm not okay with this. 6 months of this bullshit.
Safe of this.
Tony, you're a madman. Why do we let you in
love
here?
him.
We love you.
So much.
What is going on?
Oh god. Moving swiftly on from pushing things into throats. I just want to. I
That was a
kind of
nice
want
transition.
to move into the defining moments of 2020 because we are wrapping up this year. It's been, like I said, a shit year, but for gaming, it's been quite positive. We've got a lot of mass market, the masses who have been locked down have been looking towards gaming. We've been ahead of the curve, guys, because this is what we love. We breathe, live, and shit this stuff. But 2020 did see the release of next-gen consoles. We were excited despite the fact that we were on lockdown. I want to get your views on it, Dread. What was, for you personally, and also in chat, if you let me know what your defining moment in 2020 was.
I guess
Gaming wise.
Yeah. There's really nothing really defining for me in gaming. It's just the fact that we are able to game more. There's more variety that we have to appreciate. You know what I mean? So not everybody's going to like every game. We've said that many a times. Not every game's for everybody.
Yeah.
So, but at least there's more out there, so we can actually have a game. We're not looking forward to a game and then, this is what we want, but yet others are like, I don't play this game. I'm not into RTSs. Now we have so much more than just RTSs, first-person shooters, driving games. We have different type of simulators. So if you want simulation, is it driving, flying, life,
Farming.
farming? Yeah, I mean, there's so much out there. So I just see it as the fact that there's more for everybody to have a good time and enjoy.
So the variety that this year and the gaming experience, that's a very good
It just
point.
keeps growing. Yeah.
Mad. It's been a mad year for variety for games as well. It's a very good point. Very good point. Flight Sim, and then you got Hades, and there's like potential game of the year. Then you got your third person stuff that Sony love to turn out, and then you've got everything. You've got variety. That's a good point. What about you, Clay? What would you say was your gaming defining moment in 2020?
I actually had two gaming defining moments. For one, I've been an Animal Crossing fan since the very beginning, and with New Horizons, I've seen the explosion of growth with the series, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what's next. And secondly, you might be familiar with this, I'm not sure, but I gave Fortnite another chance, and I actually ended up enjoying it. And I've been a hater for so long, and I've just told people who liked it, you like a kid's game, it's terrible. I like a kid's game now, so that's great.
Yeah, I mean, the kids are insanely skilled on it. I think Asa, your kid can just decimate people on the game. It's like meant to be mental. I tried Fortnite. People build like the Taj Mahal in -3 seconds. I can't fight. I'm old school. Give me Quake. I cannot play that. But that's a good point. So your defining moments. But funnily enough, you mentioned Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing was like a safe getaway for a lot of people. Immediately after the lockdown, everyone has really found comfort in that game, which is really interesting. A lot of people in chat have said that purchase of the new next-gen consoles was the defining moment. That's a good point.
To me, that's just kind of splits everybody, right? Because how many people actually have them versus how many people want them.
That's a good point. And that's probably a sour topic for some people who are watching this who haven't had an opportunity to get their hands on that. Mads, other than the job interview that you're about to go to, what is your for 2020? What's been the highlight for you this year?
I mean, well, it depends how you look at it. I mean, from actually games perspective, what kind of games we got and stuff, right? I mean, it's really difficult for me to actually pinpoint any one particular kind of experience. There's been quite a lot of games that I enjoyed this year. I was hoping that Cyberpunk 2077 would be that game that I would be like, wow, I was like, that I could say that I was blown out of the water. I mean, it's a great game, don't get me wrong, but it's not like, not the second, Jesus Christ coming or anything like that, right? So, so there's been quite a lot of games. I enjoy the Cyberpunk. I actually, you know what? This is rather like a bit of a surprise to me, and that was Watch Dogs Legions. So I enjoyed that game a lot, and I'm not even into that franchise. I played a little bit of the very first Watch Dogs. Never played Watch Dogs 2, and going into that game, starting the Watch Dogs Legions, I was like, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to expect and that kind of stuff, right? But I was actually quite surprised. I really enjoyed that game a lot. It was just fun, right? And I know people are kind of like Ubisoft open world kind of games tired, I guess, right? They say that a lot, but I actually enjoyed that a lot. Another thing I would say that, what I actually found with me personally is that what I like and kind of Game Pass is kind of changing my gaming habits a little bit.
Yeah.
So one of the games that I would normally never play was the Call of the Sea. And I nearly finished that game. It's not really long of a game anyway, like 5-6 hours of experience apparently. And I actually enjoy it really. And I don't usually play that games because it's you've got some puzzles, you've got some, it's kind of like walking puzzle simulator, if you know what I mean, right? So I don't necessarily play that kind of games, but with Game Pass, it was like, hey, I've got Game Pass, I can try it out, see if I like it, and I did enjoy it, and I will finish it, very soon. So the thing is, the Game Pass is kind of allows me to try games that I usually wouldn't really even try, because why would I spend that money and probably didn't enjoy the game? Now I can do it. So that's what I would say in terms of games. Other than that, there wasn't really any particular game that would really say wow me.
It could be a game. It could be a moment as well. But yeah, I mean, Game Pass.
Moment. I mean, if we're talking about moment, I think that the biggest shock I kind of experienced was the Bethesda deal.
Right.
I mean, listen, this is not something that happens every year.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, if I were to come here, and somebody would ask me, probably before the actual, the Bethesda deal, what would be your, huge moment this year? I would probably say, next gen console launch, right? Because that's usually what's the thing, right? But the thing is, like with this Bethesda deal, it was so huge, it was so unexpected. There was no rumors about it, no leaks, nothing. It was just like, whoa, oh, there
It doesn't count. That's happening next year, technically.
Yeah, I know. Technically, yes, but the actual announcement, right? So, and to be honest with you, like I didn't even believe that at first. I will remember that till for a very long time, because like I was on Twitter, I was doing something and like checking Twitter messages, and I saw some tweets about like, oh, there's some deal with between Microsoft and Bethesda and stuff. And I thought that, hey, Microsoft, Bethesda, or maybe there's some games coming to Game Pass and that kind of stuff, right? And then I saw more tweets about, no, they may actually buy them and stuff, right? But I was like, okay, well, another rumor, right? I mean, we've heard about EA being bought by Microsoft already and stuff. So I thought,
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But then, 5 minutes later, there's flood of tweets with some proper links and stuff. And I was like, what is going on? So, yeah, I mean,
that's a big moment. It's a big moment, even though it hasn't happened. It's still a big moment.
So gaming news-wise, I would say that was the biggest moment for me, to be honest with you, right? In my opinion.
That is a good answer. It makes me
Good
think.
point.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mav, any highlights for 2020 for you? What was the highlight for you?
Mads stole all of mine.
Sorry. Hey,
I have to repeat everything.
Last.
Did
you clip him? Maybe you could just.
Yeah, can we just rewind it a little bit? I'll move my mouth and Mads can talk. So game wise for me, I think the best game I experienced this year was Ghost of Tsushima. I think that game was kind of a masterpiece. A lot of people say it's an Assassin's Creed clone or whatever, but that game had a lot of good inspiration behind it, and it was a different take on a genre that was to me a great experience, and that's the game I'm probably going to remember most when I look back at 2020, playing. Besides that, I mean, like Mads was saying, the evolution and the realization of what Game Pass has become, and just seeing everything that's been added to it, the constant flow of new games that drop on there day one, even not even first party, but these third party games like Carry On, Spiritfarer, these games that like he said we wouldn't necessarily have bought or played, but because they're there, we give them a chance, and that's been amazing. And then I'll go ahead and say it. Opening up the next gen consoles. I'm sorry for you guys, I don't have one, but that was a culmination of years of waiting for us, right?
Yeah.
Years of waiting, years of this amazing fun talk, and as I say, fun speculation, right? That we always have about games and hey, what's coming? What are they going to announce?
I love how you have speculation in there. I noticed that. Nice plug-in.
I worked it in. Right? How many T-flops is this going to have? All this stupid stuff that we talk about for years. It's just fun to talk about. It's culminated when you open that box and you have this shiny new console and you plug it in and you get to play the games running at 60 frames per second on console. For me, on these games like Assassin's Creed and all that is new because I don't do a lot of PC gaming, right? So it's been an amazing year for games. And the last thing I would say is just stepping into this community and being vocal and kind of starting my podcast and all that has been really fun because I gotten to know a lot of people that I never would have even spoken to before. So
I think that's kind of my answer there. It's a really, really good point.
I second that too, actually.
Yeah, that's a really good answer there. Mads didn't say that. He doesn't give a shit about us. But,
I would leave gain out of it.
JT, what's you? Look at you. You look like you just downed some MDMA. You're always so happy, and it's so nice to see.
He was taking a nap.
That I mean, not that I am a connoisseur of the drugs, but the idea of downing some MDMA just as a statement there is so much wrong with that.
We do not you say by the way, but yeah, sorry.
not to be too broken a record, but I would like to third what you guys were saying about Game Pass. I've become significantly less snobbish because of Game Pass.
Yeah.
But the big thing for me has been, and it kind of is off of that, it has been friends of mine who have either got it on PC now or have got an Xbox. They picked up a Series X, and suddenly we just had all these choices. I was able to go, hey man, let's give Dead by Daylight a try. We haven't played it since it first came out, and everyone just had it. So for me, this year, a real defining moment has been how social my gaming has become. And I do believe, obviously, that has been influenced by the pandemic, by the state of lockdown. But I've ended up playing more games with more people, with more variety than ever before. That's been a huge highlight for me this year. In terms of specific things, The Last of Us Part 2, I was hooked, line and sinkered into that game. I played it with my missus start to finish and wept at the end like I was just a fucking mess playing that thing. And I had a blast playing that. It was a real creative highlight. And I think, again, looking at kind of the way this year is shaken out, the highlight for me is that gaming didn't stop.
Yeah.
You know, I was able to keep doing what I love, which is this, this such a satisfying hobby. And actually, I'm going to steal a little bit what you said, Mav, as well. This year, I started a podcast for the first time, and I got to interview some people that I have admired for so long. I got to interview Troy Baker, the voice actor, which was an absolute pleasure. This was actually just before COVID hit. And we were able to. It was he used to be in Retro Replay, the YouTube channel with Nolan North.
Oh wow!
They did an event at the Golden Hind down in Southwark, and I basically just the dude from VG 24/7 was doing an interview with them, and it was in a Costa, and I just like blagged my way because I knew his publicist, I knew the name of the publicist, so I was able to be like, "Oh no, you talked to Drew." Right, yeah, I was booked in and I just bullshitted my way in, and I got it was me and Troy Baker one-on-one over a coffee in a Costa in London, and we just talked, and I got to record it for a podcast. So little moments like that's definitely been a highlight for me. 100%.
That's awesome. I didn't get to interview Troy Baker, but I did get to interview Dreadpool, so that was awesome.
Well,
JT for the new
we
James
want to throw
Bond.
some names out there. Tommy Tallarico was one for me.
Yeah, man.
Tommy Tallarico, you guys are tell him to come on Go Live because he is amazing. If people don't know who Tommy Tallarico is, he's got such a really illustrious career, and he's actually a big inspiration to me based on his review he had on Game Show. His High Heat Baseball 2003 review that was so funny. But yeah, well done, Dread. That's a big get.
Sorry, you guys were name dropping.
Yeah, no, that's
shamelessly. I mean, and also I suppose Gav just accused me of taking MDMA, so I had to try and shift the narrative, baby.
Are you high though? I mean, that's still a question, isn't it?
Yeah, he's always high. Look at him. He's on life, not on drugs. On life.
I love that.
On life. Yeah.
I love that distinction. Thank you so much for maintaining my ironclad reputation.
Asa, what is your defining moment in 2020 gaming wise?
This show is great. I'm having fun. I don't know. It's been a surprising year. Obviously things so much has been delayed and put off, and at some point there's going to be a massive pipeline that comes unclogged, and next year this is going to be a ton of games and it's going to be fantastic. But this year hasn't been shy of them at all. Things like Final Fantasy VII, I forgot that was this year. Like, the concept of time is really difficult for me, and I can't remember where the year started, but that was fantastic. And obviously the stuff that we're doing with our channel and our website will be fairly well defining for the year and for life in general. So yes, it's been an interesting one. I'm happy.
That's good. Asa's happy, ladies and gentlemen. I see you guys playing the game, trying to get the likes up. I love how in unison you managed to get it to the magical number 69, and then someone trolls it, takes it away. Keep it at 69. That'd be great. No higher, no lower. I want to ask, because look, we are, next gen has come out. Also in chat, I'd like to get your opinions on this. What has been the most visually impressive or most next-gen looking game you've played? Mads, go. Boom.
Gears 5.
It sounds like you're in a toilet.
Just shit out his arm.
That's not the noise I make. By the way. Just have to clarify.
No, Gears 5, I think. Yeah.
Was Gears 5? Gears 5 is your most next gen looking game. Oh, you mean Hive Busters?
Well, I mean, after the update, Gears 5 on Series X looks pretty cool. So, it looks much better than OG Xbox and stuff. I mean, Xbox One. So, yeah, I mean, probably that, to be honest with you, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying Microsoft Flight Sim. That's good answers there, by the way. I didn't think of that. JT, what's your best looking next gen game or the most visually impressive next gen game?
Ooh, I think I'd have to second that. I think it's going to be Gears. I've been playing that multiplayer a lot lately, and it just runs so smoothly. That's next gen for me. Just the smoothness of that frame rate. I think it's not a next gen game, but I think visually, Last of Us Part 2 blew me away this year as well. That was just the facial animation alone is just something else.
That's our last gen consoles. So
I know, dude. Yeah.
It's mad. Mav, your most visually impressive next gen game?
Visually, I would say Gears 5 after the updates. But also a quick shout out to the update for Master Chief Collection.
Yes.
Halo 5 and Halo 4 with the FOV slider turned up, or not Halo 5, but Halo 4 turned up with the FOV slider. Running like it does on Series X is freaking amazing.
Dude, you've just actually given me something I forgot to mention. I'll keep it real brief. Crossplay this year. Crossplay becoming really prevalent in loads of big games, and Master Chief getting crossplay with the PC version. Suddenly, those matchmaking times just were like nothing. It's great. So yeah, crossplay and that becoming really widely adopted. That's huge for me.
It's been a game changer.
Definitely, and I hope that is just a thing now going forward.
So
Crossplay and cross progression too.
Cross progression.
Absolutely. Yeah, because Apex has really dropped the ball on that. A game like that desperately needs cross progression. I don't think you can have cross play without it. For it to be a really strong implementation of that. So yeah, 100%. There's clearly room for improvement, but I just hope it becomes an industry standard thing.
In fairness to Respawn, they did say that look, they wanted to try and make it work. They technically couldn't do it because of the way they structured it. Didn't foresee it, but they would not have to do it. So I do appreciate the
Well, they were honest about it.
Yeah, they were, and that's cool. No, but that's a good point. Actually, I love crossplay. I've been fighting people. I don't know why people were against it. You can imagine one camp was against it. I'm not going to say anything else. Dreadpool, can I get your defining moment of 2020?
I was going to say Legions.
Oh, no, defining. I got the question's wrong. Sorry. No,
I know what you mean. I know what you meant.
Yeah.
So I was just playing off of it. Never mind. But no, I was going to say Legions. It felt like you wiped the Vaseline off your eye and then smeared oil all over everything else. You know what I mean? Even concrete walls were shiny and had a glimmer to it. Like, it's like everything was wet all the time,
Oh, shit.
Somebody had a little bit too much oil in that bed.
Oh, too much. What are you talking about? Are we talking about games right now?
Right? Isn't that a game too?
This is like gaming beyond the box.
But then Hive Busters comes out, that shows you how to do it. You know what I mean? It was just too much ray tracing. It's like, for the newest, coolest thing, and we're just gonna put it everywhere. But I believe Hive Busters kind of did a little bit better, and just everything the way they did it. So, but yeah, definitely honorable mentions to Halo Master Chief Collection, because I'm standing there and I'm like, wow, this looks really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm getting shot, because I'm too busy looking at my hands and the guns and everything around. Like, wow, when did they add this here? When did they do this? And just dying left and right. But it was just yet again a lot of the stuff that they've been doing, bringing some of these older games to next gen. Cyberpunk should have learned a lesson from that.
Definitely
fix it originally and then bring it over.
Can I say something? Because just that came back to me really. What I really wanted to say about Cyberpunk, everyone talks about this game and stuff, how good that game actually looked. But you know what? I actually think that Watch Dogs Legions actually looks much better. And
are you on crack? Have you seen on a actual appreciable PC? There's no fight me.
No.
On a Series X, I agree.
I haven't seen that game running on PC, but just like from console perspective, I think that Watch Dogs Legion is actually a little better.
The problem I have with Watch Dogs Legion is it's running at 30 frames per second, whereas you gotta play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that running at 60 frames per second and looking like it does, and then I go over and play Watch Dogs, I'm like, damn, this sucks, right?
Yeah.
So
And in some ways,
kinda
Watch
hard.
Dogs is quite close to Cyberpunk in many ways because the Xbox One version of Watch Dogs does not run well, but the Series X version is delightful. So, but like you say, they still didn't quite get it. There's that 60 frames gap.
I bet it's going to come. There's going to be an update, I think,
I hope so.
eventually, because they're still got to drop all the multiplayer content for Watch Dogs,
Absolutely.
which was supposed to come in December, which was delayed to 2021. So we know there's some massive updates coming for that game.
Dreadpool,
Yeah,
no, you're absolutely right, dude. And Dreadpool, I'm really glad that you mentioned about how the way Halo looks now, what they've done with that Master Chief Collection and that next gen update, because now it's got that thing of that kind of sweet nostalgic spot of it looking like how you remember it. But if you actually went back to look at that game, it doesn't. It really is the idealized version of those games.
Master Chief Collection feels like a new game right now.
Absolutely, in its state now. It took them 6 years, but they got there.
Yeah, it took them a while, but they did get there at the end. And just respect them. Hopefully, Halo Infinite fares better from those experiences. Clayton, my good friend, what was your 2020 highlight? Sorry, keep getting the bloody question wrong. I'm an idiot. What's the best game for you, or most next-gen looking game this year?
Well, I was kind of trolling you in your comments with your Cyberpunk 2077 images. But I think when that game is perfectly still, it is probably the most beautiful game this generation, at least when it's loading everything properly and whatnot. Just clearly doesn't work that way. So I think I'll have to say Assassin's Creed Valhalla is like my most visually impressive one, just because I really like the art design and stuff. It's not so much graphically amazing.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I haven't actually had a chance to play that, but yeah, Cyberpunk, even on PC, I'd love to see it on Xbox PC, but even in motion on a 2070, it looks sick. I've been recording videos with a dude to try and work on a video. I'm just useless at that. But Justin in chat, it doesn't look good at all. You're playing it on a console. That's why sorry, trying to the console.
You're such a PC uniter.
My PC is so shit. Well, it struggles, but actually no. For console guys, it runs ultra high ray tracing. Yeah, I see Dreadpool crying, little tear rolling down your cheek, and you should cry because it looks sick. You muted yourself. I'll get to see you just zooming.
He was just gonna smother your camera with his tears.
Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna kind of quickly move about. I know this topic's kind of been done to that because next gen kind of links in with the visual side of things.
That's very good.
We were
You
excited.
asked, Gaz. My favourite games. No, don't move on. It's cool. It's
actually,
cool.
And I want to know what yours is as well. Like, what's your highlights?
Well, Asa, you go first.
Specifically visually, and not limiting it to next gen stuff. There's a few real standout. So Final Fantasy VII was gorgeous throughout. Last of Us Part 2, gorgeous throughout. Marvel's Avengers, good game or not, phenomenal to look at. And obviously next gen you've got Gears 5 and Spider-Man. So if you haven't played Miles Morales, the ray tracing in Spider-Man, when you compare it to what else is on the market, is phenomenal for that console. The distance that it's managing to capture with that. There's been some amazing looking games, and I haven't played all of them. I've not played Ghost of Tsushima yet. A lot of people say that that's stunning too. So
Yeah,
the plan is to get to that one in the next week or two. People saying Ori in the chat, beautiful game as well.
Ori,
Flight
yes.
Sim, loads.
Will of the Wisps, of course.
Yeah, it's like an piece of art, so it's weird to forget that. That's a good
But
point.
I won't go into it anymore because I know Gaz doesn't want to hear from me. He tried to just gloss over and not ask me. So over to you, Gaz.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
It's good. It's good.
If I send you a screenshot of what it is, every subject, it's got the only narrative underneath that. Ask Asa! Exclamation mark. Ask Asa! Exclamation mark. Screenshot of it so you can just see. It's so funny because I'm so bad at multitasking, as you know. I want to kind of get into something a little bit more topical, guys. Do keep it friendly because I'm going to jump into some sauce here. The whole point about next-gen consoles, Mads, you know what's coming, is the power of these things. And Dirt 5 got updated to bring the Xbox Series X in line with the PS5 this year. This week, actually, the update that came in. I want to ask the panel and you guys in chat, And do answer the question, don't skirt around it. Will 2021 be the year that the Xbox Series X actually outperforms the PlayStation 5 in power? Mads, go.
Yeah, I think it will. And actually, if you really want to, one game that already does it is it's Destiny 2 after update. I mean, not many actually people talk about it, but Destiny 2 on Xbox Series X actually runs at 60 on PlayStation 5 as well. Both versions have like small dips in frames here and there. So performance-wise, both actually run almost identical, to be honest with you. But image quality is actually better on Xbox Series X because dynamic resolution actually apparently hits higher resolutions. And I've seen some comments that there's some issues with anti-aliasing on PlayStation 5 as well. So kind of it goes to show that there's just one game that finally shows that Xbox Series X is more capable, but that's just one game. But generally speaking, next year I think it's going to be a mix still of games. Like some games will run better on PlayStation 5 or look better on PlayStation 5 and vice versa. And also, you always need to remember that even last gen with PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X, there were games that would run better or look better on PlayStation 4 Pro over Xbox One version even, because, for example, developers decided that PlayStation 4 is going to be their lead platform. Or, for example, there were like Borderlands is a good example where Xbox One X version was actually held back by the fact that the developers just decided to let's just use the Xbox One assets and Xbox One graphical settings, and let's just bump up the resolution and that's it. That's why, for example, Xbox One X version of Borderlands 3 actually has less grass and that kind of stuff, right? So I think that next year it's still going to be a mix of one game is going to run or look better on one platform and vice versa. But and I think that will happen even preceding in next that's the word I was looking for, following years. But I think as time goes by, I think that there's going to be more and more games that will, probably slightly, I don't expect huge advantages, over PlayStation 5 anyway, unless Microsoft will finally release that, machine learning thing and stuff, and this super sampling that might change the thing around. But generally speaking, we're talking about 20%, 15%, difference in terms of performance, the specs really on paper. So I don't think there's going to be much of a performance deltas anyway. But yeah, I think that there's going to be more and more games like that, next year.
Yeah. Sorry, quick one. Dread, you need to head out.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Before Dread leaves, real quick, does anybody else notice that Dreadpool looks like JT after he's been saved from a deserted island?
I'm hoping. Yeah, he's gone full Lord of the Flies. There.
Yeah. Same person, just one's in the future.
I was thinking he had the Mick Foley look going on, except he's got the Xbox shirt.
I'll take that one. Thanks.
There you go.
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
No offense, Jay.
Desert Island me. That's not fair.
Red, what on earth do you have that is so important that you have to leave mid go live? Shame on you.
Oh, unfortunately, family arises, so family first. So
Yeah.
my apologies.
Always.
That's fine. As always, that's the case. Asa, are you ready to deal with the transitions?
Well, I'm just going to do it a little bit messy. So, Dread, when you need to pop off, just do. People watching it might go a tiny bit messy just for a second, but it'll be all good.
Yeah. Well, Dread, before you go, can you just let everyone know where they can find you?
Okay.
thank you so much for joining us as well. Sorry you had to leave.
I appreciate it. Sorry, I have to bail out. But like I said before, family first. So you can find me on Twitter, Dreadpool. The O's are actually zeros. YouTube, Gamertag, and yes, I'm still on Stadia. Dreadpool, all letters, all caps. Breaking Bread Breaking Bread with Dread is on anchor.fm/Dreadpool. And then I have Gaming Beyond the Box Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. and Breakfast with Boom Friday mornings at 10 a.m. So my DMs are always open. And if anybody wants to talk about anything, I'll have an ear out for you. I may not know what to say, but at least you'll know I'll listen.
That's
So,
where you
again,
can do. Just his Twitter is linked in the chat below. So yeah, enjoy. And thank you so much, Dread. It was a
All right,
pleasure.
thank you. And Asa, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay.
2 hours.
Thanks, man.
All right, you all have a happy New Year and happy holidays.
Yeah, Merry New Year.
Happy New Year.
Later, Dread.
Peace, Dread. So yeah, going back on this power thing, Mav, do you have an opinion on this whole thing about power? Do you think the Xbox Series X on paper has more grunt, yet it's being outclassed by PlayStation 5? Do you think that will change? And if it does, do you think it will be next year?
So whenever I answer this question, because I'm not a tech guy, but I just listen to the experts, and they all tell me that yes, it is the just paper to paper, more powerful console. Over time, I think the numbers will show there. However, I don't think it's going to be like this drastic difference that some people are thinking. And then for the most part, people are going to be playing exclusives also on these machines. And it's, you can't really compare those. The games that come out are going to be visually stunning on the PlayStation 5 as well as the Series X. And it's really going to be inconsequential. And you're talking about minuscule amounts of resolution differences and things like that. So at the end of the day, does it matter? No. But the answer to the question is yes. So I don't know if that helps. But you can argue like the visual quality of the games we play is more on the developers than the actual machines that we play them on. And the talent that they have to create the graphics and the beautiful worlds that we play. I think Ghost of Tsushima, we mentioned that, wasn't running at a very high resolution on even the PS4 Pro, but hey, that game looked freaking stunning. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter to me as far as the comparisons go in that regard. What matters to me is the quality of what we play. And I think that we're going to get some amazing games this generation, and everybody will be extremely happy no matter which console you play on, because we're in store for some amazing things in the next 5 to 7 years, guys.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so uplifting, man.
Yeah, that is so uplifting. In fact, I know the two gents, I haven't asked you for that, but that's a good kind of segue into my next topic. Really, it's going to be so uplifting and wholesome. And I was going to say, who's going to win 2021? Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. Go fight, people. Who has a better game? Which platform has a better game? Because it's a good important question to ask when you're looking at the future horizon. To me, it seems like a bit one-sided for 2021. But Clayton, sir, what looks like which of the big three seems to have 2021 on lock for you?
Well, I'll drop some sauce and say that Microsoft, no matter how good they do, how well they do in making amazing games, they're still going to get shit on all year. They could have Halo Infinite be 10 out of 10 objectively, and I think they'd still get shit on by jaded trolls online. I'll go with Nintendo. I mean, I think they've been killing it with the Switch, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what's next.
Well, what's going to be on there? You have to just substantiate your point. You can't just say Nintendo.
Breath of the Wild 2 is supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So that's a big title. I can't really think of anything else.
Will we get Metroid this year?
I don't think so.
Possibly.
No, I
That
don't think
sucks.
so.
I
would like
think that's 22.
Yeah.
I would like to
That's
see
what I'm
a
waiting for.
Zelda 3D All-Stars similar to Mario.
3D All-Stars.
Yeah, like
I'd love that. That'd fly off the shelves.
Like a Metroid Prime collection, do you mean?
Like the Mario 3D All-Star, Super Mario
Right.
3D. This game.
that
Yeah,
game right there. Yeah, I want that, but Zelda.
Yeah. All right, nice. JT, what do you think is going to be? Who do you think has a better 2021? And in chat, do let me know who do you think win. Josko, he win. Okay.
Well, I'm still very skeptical that the games that are currently listed for PlayStation will in fact launch next year, and if they do, Sony wins. But I cannot believe that God of War Ragnarok is going to be next year, and we haven't seen it at all.
Yeah.
I'm very skeptical about the releases themselves and them hitting that year. If in fact God of War, Horizon, Gran Turismo, and that all launches next year, then I think Sony have got another really strong first party year.
That's an incredible year. That's probably one of the strongest years in gaming in a long time. To have it in the second year.
And you could probably reasonably guess that the Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer, the factions multiplayer, will drop next year as well.
Oh yeah.
I think that would be reasonable. To think that actually that weirdly would probably be the more likely one of all of them. So no, I think they've got a really strong first party lineup. I'm so excited for the potential of what Microsoft have now. I think this narrative that they have no games is bollocks and needs to go in the bin. Yeah. It's not just Halo, Gears, Forza. It is right now, but in terms of what they've got cooking, you look across like Perfect Dark, Avowed, Fable, Everwild, State of there's some really good stuff in there. And that's not even including anything by Bethesda. Whether it comes out next year, though, again, is the big question. So I think Sony. I think to answer your original question, and I hope Nintendo have something on top of Breath of the Wild 2. I hope it will be something like a Metroid Prime 4 or something like that. To go with their next year, but I think Sony have got such good momentum right now. I think they're on course.
Yeah, I think Sony are. Thank you so much, Face23 BKNY, for the $5 super chat. The Series X finally has a game that Cyberpunk 2077 performs better than PlayStation, and Gaz is playing on PC. I'm confused. Well, it's not that confusing. I want to play the best version. The Series X does not have the next gen patch, and I can't wait for it. Although, to be honest, not contending with the headaches that you get with PC. I'd love to play this more on the Series X. But yeah, mate, there's no comparison. If you think that the PC version of the Series X, it's night and day. That's why I'm playing the PC.
I suppose it depends on the PC, but
it does depend on the PC. It really does. But it's just when I see, I'll do the video. Promise to you, Face. I've almost kind of compiled all the footage for it. Just I want to show people who haven't had. There's loads of footage out there, but I still want to do this video because it looks sick. That's the reason why. It's not me hating on Series X. Not at all. Mav, who do you think is the more exciting prospect in 2020? I'm sorry, I can hear feedback from one of you guys. Who is the more exciting prospect in 2021? Who do you think is going to have the stronger first party outfit?
Wow. So it's hard to say 100% because I don't know everything that's actually coming out in 2021 right now. So, but based on what we're assuming, if you say Gran Turismo, Horizon Forbidden West, God of War, and Ratchet and Clank possibly. That one may be there as well. That's pretty hard to beat. And if you look at Xbox, I got The Medium, Halo Infinite, Flight Simulator. I think Forza Horizon 5 will actually come out this year for Xbox and will be a cross-gen title. So if that actually happens, it'll be a lot more even for me. But going 2021, I'd probably have to say if that actually happens, if everything is the way we're saying it right now, then I would give the edge to Sony, slightly followed by Xbox, and then way down there Nintendo because they haven't announced enough stuff, and I'm kind of down on them right now, unfortunately, because I just want more content announced that I can get excited about, right? And once that happens, we'll get a little bit there. Now, going into 2022 and 2023, 2024, it's going to be hard for anybody in the entire gaming industry to come up with the amount of content that Xbox is going to be having dropping on Game Pass.
Good point.
So beyond 2021, it's going to be insane.
Really?
And the narrative is going to shift 100%. The narrative is going to shift, and it's going to be a different world that we're living in.
2022 is going to be very interesting, isn't it?
You talk about Starfield, Avowed, Elder Scrolls 6. You got Perfect Dark. Eventually, Gears of War 6 is going to get announced. Halo Infinite's going to be an ongoing thing for years. You're going to have the new Forza Motorsport. You're going to have Forza Horizon 5, State of Decay 3, Everwild. I mean, you could just keep going down this list, and it's like, holy crap, all these things have already been freaking announced?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Maybe that's the thing with Nintendo then, is that because we don't know
Yeah.
what they've really got for next year, that maybe they'll kind of do a Bethesda in a sense. And
I think it's going to be that Switch 4K is going to come possibly at the end of next year.
Do you think that there'll be like a sort of a shorter turnaround but from like announcement to release for their stuff? Because we just haven't heard anything?
For Xbox, yes. Because
do you think for Switch?
Maybe. Well, Switch is doing everything on those Nintendo Directs, right?
Yeah.
So when they do those Nintendo Directs, they've kind of had a tendency, like when 3D All-Stars was announced, when did that come out? It was like immediately after that. Yeah. I remember there's been this progression of whenever they announce something, shortly afterwards, they're kind of coming out with it.
Quick turnaround, yeah.
Now, 3D All-Stars, I'm not a huge fan of that personally, right? Just because you're up-resing the game and selling it and for 3 months or whatever, and then really taking it back. It's like they're Disney vaulting it, right? It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that works so well for Disney.
I think it's a good value in of itself, but to take it away is kind of strange for me.
That's Nintendo, isn't it?
Yeah. Other than that, though, I mean, I want to know more about what they have, and if they do that, then that's cool. But it doesn't give me a lot of time to get excited and talk about that kind of stuff, right? And I really like doing that.
Yeah. All of your points are so spot on, but I find myself distracted by the fact that you definitely have a Halo energy sword underneath your TV.
Yes.
And I've only just noticed it. We're 2 hours in, and I'm in love.
He's got a video, dude.
With you.
I put that together. My wife bought it for me as a surprise. So it's actually Mega Bloks, and I have a light behind it shining on it. So yeah, there's a video on my channel. It's a time lapse of me putting it together.
That's sick. Yeah, it does look sick. I'm jealous of that.
That's delightful. Sorry, that was a good segue. But
big Halo fan.
Matt, everyone in chat has actually. I think we all agree that it's unlikely that God of War and Horizon Forbidden West all release in the same year, particularly as we haven't even seen gameplay.
And Gran Turismo.
And Gran Turismo,
Gran Turismo is the big one for me personally.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't think so. But what do you think? That, I know it's very speculative, but just looking at 2021, it still seems like it's Sony's year, no? Because they've got Ratchet, which is something that we forgot. That looks amazing.
That is next year, confirmed, isn't it? Yeah. I believe, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's going to be like spring of 2021.
Yeah. So, now that's really stacking up, isn't it? If you've got Ratchet, Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo potentially, and then maybe Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer.
I mean, that's better than...
And there's this, how's this game is called? Like Kenji or something like that?
Kina. That was really good.
Yeah. So I'm actually looking forward to this one as well. So
yeah. Y'all are sleeping on Psychonauts 2. That's a multi-platform game, but yeah, that's a really good game from Double Fine. Mads, 2021 though, generally, if you're going to pick one, who's going to be? Do you think it has the stronger year? Do you think it's Sony? I think it's pretty much everyone is saying.
I would say Sony. I mean, just basically going off of what has been already announced. So there's been like more bigger stuff, I guess. Bigger like of a games announced on the Sony side. Well, on Xbox side of things, there's going to be a lot of games because there's like Exomecha, there's the Gunk, there's the Medium, there's Stalker 2, there's this
Warhammer.
Sorry,
Warhammer.
Yeah, exactly. Dark. There's this Cyberpunk game, the Cyberpunk
the Ascent.
Outsider or
there's Outsiders, and then there's the Ascent, which is a top-down.
Oh yeah, this one. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of games coming to Xbox. But the thing is, like, the thing about these games is just like they are like smaller games, like double A and stuff, right? I mean, I'm not taking anything, away from these kind of games and stuff, but they probably not going to be like a proper next generation experiences for the most part, if you know what I mean. There's Bright Memory Infinite and obviously Halo Infinite, which is going to be still a cross-generation title and stuff. But on Sony's side, there's like Gran Turismo 7, there's Ratchet and Clank, there's Horizon Forbidden West, which I'm really looking forward to because I'm a big fan of the first game. And there's like some smaller titles as well. There's this a game, the space game that is you are in a sort of like in a loop. Sorry, I'm not really good with names of the game.
Is that Deathloop?
Deathloop.
Deathloop looks sick.
No, that's the Bethesda game. But I'm talking about this game from Horse Marquee.
Returnal.
Oh, this one. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this one as well. So there's actually more games that I'm actually looking forward to on the PlayStation side of things. To be honest with you, I'm talking about the games that have been officially announced already. But there's been some crazy rumors about some other games, and Microsoft did say that they've still got some unannounced first-party titles that will come out in 2021. So I'm looking forward, to those as well. So, but like just going by those, officially announced games, I would say Sony. As for Nintendo, I'm not really a big Nintendo fan. And I actually bought Nintendo Switch, a couple of weeks ago, so I might actually invest more in that platform and some games. So we'll see how that goes. But
yeah, Nintendo on their own lane. Face 23 BKNY. Thank you so much again for the second $15 super chat. He said, "Seems so." Actually, something I mentioned earlier on this year. Seems Sony will be firing an onslaught of games before Xbox can even get their games in order. When Xbox does release its some bangers, will the narrative shift or will it be too late? Very good question. In fact, I actually asked the same question because I said day one momentum is so important in this console race. Sony are killing it. So are Microsoft, to be fair. But if the narrative builds up, next year is a very important year. So any further delays on Microsoft's side aren't going to bode well for the entirety of the gen, and I do think the gen is a lot longer than 2 years. Will it be too late? No, depending on the quality of those games. Very good question.
Can I answer that as well after?
Yes, you can. Go for it.
My opinion is personally yes, just because of Game Pass. The narrative will shift because of Game Pass. Because on one platform, you're going to have all of those games that we just mentioned hitting for $14.99 or whatever they end up charging at that time. They may end up going up to $20 a month. I don't know, but whatever happens at that point, you're paying this one fee, and you get all of those games. And then let's say we announce like 6 games on PlayStation, each one of those is $70,
Yeah,
right? So you talk about the value difference there, and the disparity is going to be massive at that time when all of those games are hitting. And the thing with Game Pass is it's going to keep stacking and stacking and stacking year after year, where people are going to have to make it a really difficult choice. Get this console that I know is coming with all of these huge AAA bangers that are for $14.99 a month, or I go here and hey, every game is $50, $60, $70. That's what it's going to be.
It's a massive thing. A lot of people don't know Sony are doing that. I don't think there's a lot of noise about this. If Microsoft did that, charged 70 quid for games or 90 euros in Poland, all right, 90 euros or 100?
Yeah, 95. Yeah,
95 euros. That's fucking crazy.
No, hold on, $95 because yeah,
that's insane. So that means like with Game Pass, that's a very good point, man. Clayton, what do you think? Do you think that back to Thingy's question?
Right. Yeah, I was hoping to add to what Mav said. Only I'm kind of getting sick of a narrative in general. Like PlayStation fans have really threatened to make me less of a gamer in the last couple of years, just with their constant hatred towards anything not PlayStation. So I don't want Xbox fans to go constant hatred to anything not Xbox. I just want everybody to go, we're all gamers, enjoy what you want to enjoy, no narrative.
Never gonna happen. Never going to happen.
I know. I'm just saying, I like that.
I know, we all would, but sometimes
I think it's a fair point though that there's a certain. I know I'm quite weary of that kind of discourse. I do agree though, Mav, that Game Pass will reframe those conversations going forward because of the added value, because it goes up over time.
People like
yeah.
money, and they want to keep it.
Yeah,
True.
especially in these times, man, because COVID is going to cost us like at least decades worth of damage. So it's not money is a sticking point. You're right. Asa, what do you think about 2021? Well, 2021 and beyond. Who do you think has the stronger titles? And going back to Face's very good question, do you think Microsoft can recover if Sony have this onslaught of early games?
Yeah, this whole thing I find really difficult to frame it like this, because for me, I'm massively excited about God of War, Horizon, Halo, games from both of them. And the whole one company versus the other, I've said before several times, and Microsoft's angle and approach to it is very different to Sony's. Sony needs to sell you their console so that they can trap you in their ecosystem. Microsoft's approach is to make their ecosystem available, whether you buy an Xbox or not, to as many people as possible. And the battle that Microsoft are fighting is to get people playing those games on Xbox Live, not so much about selling Xbox consoles. And it's going to be really interesting to see where people choose to play their third-party games, more so than the exclusives. Both companies are going to put out cracking exclusives, I'm confident of it, because they're just they've got a lot of talent between the two of them. But then you've got the money doesn't lie in those exclusives so much, it lies in where people are actually playing, and that's a different battle. And that's where personally I think Microsoft are playing, they're making really good moves there, but Sony's tried and true strategy of timed exclusives and paying for bits and pieces of content is proven effective as well. So it's, I mean, I'm lucky I've got both, and I will play fantastic games on both. I guess in that conversation, obviously Game Pass is going to take a lot of my time. I've got PlayStation Now as well, and the catalogue isn't as weak as people seem to think that it is. There's a fair amount of games you can download and play on PlayStation Now. Sony are obviously, I mean, they appear to be pushing PlayStation Plus as their service option more so than PlayStation Now, so I expect developments in that area as well to make the games on there more appealing. And so far we've had like a couple of months of the PlayStation 5 and there's been some worthwhile games on it. That's going to continue, I think. So it's a battle for time more than a battle for Metacritic scores.
Yeah, well said, actually. Yeah, it is. Yeah, and in fact, Christopher Hart does say he's got 643 PS4 games on PlayStation Plus. I haven't tried it, but yeah, shouldn't write it off. But Sony will be doing some rejigging, I'm sure, with their service to match the growing popularity of Xbox Game Pass. That is a given. They've already said that. Jim Ryan has alluded to that.
I was hoping to branch off of what you said about 2021, actually. I'm looking forward to seeing the guests that you guys have. Since I first showed up, you guys have had Dealer, Colt, Eastwood, Thomas Sella, and Jeff Grubb. So I'm just hyped on what's next.
Thank you. Thanks for putting more pressure on me to get even better guests.
Phil Spencer.
We had all you guys. We get a mixture of everything. Well, we're a growing channel, so we are grateful for all of you. And it's honestly like you, as much as everyone, the bigger names with subs. It's the conversation that you have. You can have a big guest and they're shit, and there's no point. Not to say that I've had a shit podcast. We've had every show has been really good, apart from like our first two where we didn't know what we were doing, mostly because of me, because I didn't know how to post it.
I don't want to, Gaz, I don't want to shit on you, because I know you have it all laid out in a very handy PDF. I had you planned to talk about, or at least you and Asa able to speak to how you feel about Game on Daily this year?
Me or Asa? Who you asking?
Both of you. Just how you feel about this whole thing that you've built. Was that part of the agenda? And if it's not, I've hijacked it. If it is, I fucked the order.
In fact, very good question. I'd like to think, because you'd be surprised me and Asa are so busy doing stuff, we haven't actually thought about that. Asa, that's a very good question. What do you think about this?
Yeah.
I'm glad to have the opportunity to talk about it, to be honest. We love what we're doing and believe in it very strongly. I'm speaking for you as well there, Gaz. I'm sure that it's true, okay? And we've had some really great successes this year and things that we're very proud of. At the same time, there's so much more that we want to do. And things like you talk about how COVID has impacted the games industry. We've not been able to go to any of the gaming conventions and meet people that we need to meet to push things forwards. We've had development of things that we've got planned that we're so excited about have been slower than we want, and we've got a little exclusive coming here for people that are still watching. In the very near future, we're going to be having a much better integration with Twitter, because a lot of our website is community driven. A lot of the features on there work better for people that have signed up and have friends on the website, and that's a difficult thing to get traction with. So we've got an update coming in the near future that will kind of migrate your Twitter community across. So if you've already got a circle of people that are into gaming and they come and use our website with you, then your news and your sub-community, like we were alluding to earlier, will flourish very naturally, and you'll see stuff that's interesting to you on our website. And this is something that's been coming for a while, but it's so frustrating that things just take a long time at the moment. So it's a mix. We're proud and frustrated, and it's going to be hopefully a really good 2021 for us.
Yeah, because I know that for you guys, you spend a lot of the time, and it's not bullshit, it's very real. You spend a lot of time championing other creators, but I think so much of that is because of the ethos and the way you choose to run this, and the way you have us on, at this rotating panel. So I wanted to know from you guys, do you think that now you've got to the end of 2020, despite, I know, like Ace, I think it's a fair point, like you said, things have been perhaps taken longer than you expected just because of the nature of this year. But do you think that if you look back on the start of Game On Daily, the vision you had for it, do you feel like it's gone down the path you expected or wanted it to? Or have there been both positive and negative? Have there been tangents along the way? Has it gone in a different direction than you expected?
Do you want
Definitely
to take it, guys?
Okay.
It has.
Get into that. Unpack it for me.
And sorry, chat. Don't want to just talk about it. I know you guys also want to talk about games, but very quickly. Me and Asa met in a pub. Like we are resolute in what we want to do. A lot of synergy in what the aim was. What you see in Game On Daily, though, we haven't spared any expense in building it, but what you're seeing just scratches the surface of what we're aiming to. Literally scratches. It's not even a third, I would say, of what we want to do. And Asa's got some incredible ideas as well. There's some ideas we had to pull back. COVID has cost a lot of problems anyway, but there are other features as well. The thing I think Asa didn't expect, I don't know if this is correct, but he didn't think we'd have a strong YouTube presence, right? That would be a big thing.
Absolutely. There's a couple of things that have gone by the wayside that we initially anticipated and then found as it became real weren't as relevant as we maybe thought that they were. And there are things like this, our YouTube channel. I didn't anticipate this would be a thing at all. This has grown organically. It's great fun and I love it, but yeah, it was unexpected for me. Yeah,
I think
really
for me, YouTube was always on the cards. I just loved content creating. I just didn't think, man, I know Asa and we had this conversation early on. I was like, let's just do some YouTube. It's like, no, but then Asa became a fucking G with tech analysis. It's not easy to do. And Asa does ridiculous. So he was doing TLDRs, which don't get them up. So the ups and downs, to be very frank, look, we've got 90 plus people. We had over 100 people watching. It was just great. At one point, at the start, we had like 3 people, and then it grew. And in terms of our panel, we have really high aspirations. Our mentality is if someone's doing it, we want to do it better. That's 100%. Not because it's like it's just a competitive thing, but we want it to Game On Daily to be the best. If someone's doing a video better, we want to do it better. That's just our mentality thing.
It's an opportunity, isn't it, rather than a competition.
You've also got, so obviously one of our, full well, one of our key things that we're trying to do is support other people that are building their own communities, doing their own thing, doing their own content creation, and we need more power to help everybody else more. We want to uplift everybody, and that's difficult from a small beginning. But
yeah, it is. And, the funny thing is, you guys have seen us grow. Like we've got, let's say 6,000. Not much in the grand scheme of things. We've grown by 6,000%, and that's great. But you are on that journey with us. Game On Daily is for you. And this sounds like complete marketing bullshit, but it's not. The whole site is designed around content creators. Everyone on this panel shares theirs and can share their content. And you guys in chat, you may have aspirations to create your content. You can do that. We want to be the best. Videos I want to do, sometimes they don't get enough traction, like a Cyberpunk custom trailer. Who does that? Kane is insane. He spends weeks. We spend hundreds making these trailers. And they don't get the traction. That's the kind of negative that, like, oh my god, we do such work and it doesn't. That's a horrible thing. You get anxiety with your videos, and I'm going to be I want to churn out more videos, but you get so much anxiety. Like, is that, and it gets so. I talk to Colt all the time about it. He's such a nice guy. Colt and Dealer, by the way, shout out to them. They helped us out a lot. They're genuinely incredible people. And I'm not just sucking on their dicks just like that. I'm just telling you facts that they are genuinely nice people. Dealer calls me out of the blue and says, hey, you want to do this properly? You want to do that? He doesn't need to do that. They're genuine people and they're friends for life, just like you guys. We will empower. If you walk towards us, we'll run towards you. And that's my mentality for everything.
That's great, guys. I know I didn't mean to hijack there. I think it's so great to hear you guys speak to what you've built.
Yeah,
You know.
it doesn't happen enough.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. We are trying, and we have good intentions. I really want to read Face's super chats because that's a lot of money you've chucked in there. Thank you so much for the multiple super chats. I'm sure Xbox will be great in the future, but I wonder how they took so long to invest in studios since the OG Xbox. They made those mistakes. They thought they could ride it on multi-plats. They learned their lessons quite late, but it's amazing that they've come to this stage where we're talking about them dominating this gen. Far cry from what happened in the Xbox One. The fact that we're having this conversation is insane. Satya Nadella even spoke to Phil Spencer and asked him why Microsoft doesn't need to be in the gaming space. Phil Spencer told him to double down on it. That's how critical it was with Xbox One. It's amazing. I do agree with you. It took them way too long. Face asks Mads a question. Does Mads still think there will be a demonstrable difference between the PS5 and Series X with third-party games later on this gen? That's a good question. Like there's a lot of talk about power. Dealer, Colt, and me, we all agreed with that point that on paper specs there should be a considerable divide. But do you think that's still going to be the case?
I mean, that depends because, I think one of the crucial technologies that Series X actually supports is machine learning. So the real question is that do PlayStation 5 support it? Because, Sony still hasn't confirmed whether or not they support it, along with a couple of others. But I think the machine learning is going to play a crucial role. This generation. Just look at DLSS, right? There's games that with use of DLSS, they can run games with a double of frame rate. Right, so that's going to really allow for games to utilize, ray tracing, run at very good performance, and offer good image quality. So I would say that and that's why I said that early in the generation, I don't expect massive differences. But later on, once developers will really start, using those, features, especially, machine learning, and once Microsoft finally reveal, what they're actually working on, because we know that they did confirm that they are working on direct ML based, super resolution, or however they're going to, call it, right? DLSS like kind of, service, right? That actually may make a difference, right? But like I said, it's kind of like comparing something in a void, because Sony hasn't really said anything about some of these technologies, whether or not they support it. So you never know. You never know. 2 months from now, they may come out and say oh, we support this as well. So who knows, right? So
Only if they're very candid. They don't say much, but then they have stuff in the bag. So yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Basically, Asa said the same thing as well. It was a good point. I listened to Asa intently, even though he doesn't think I do. Gunstar, thank you so much for super chat. He goes, Merry Christmas to you. Asa is so melancholy. He is. Are you drunk, Asa?
Am I drunk? I don't. Maybe a little.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
Maybe a little, just a smidge.
Dark CMF, lovely chap. Thank you, Dark, for the $5 super chat. He goes, I seriously don't believe that Sony is likely to launch more than one of their announced exclusives in 2021. I think so. I do agree. Maybe two. If I was Sony, I'd pace that shit as well. You don't blow your load so quickly in 1 year. But yeah. Pixel Slapper says, thank you, Pixel Slapper. No, I'm not growing pot in the background. Why does it look like that? Damn it. I'm sorry. If I was in Canada, I would be. But yeah, I think, ladies and gentlemen, That's a good segue to kind of end it. It's gone way beyond my God, it's got 2.5 hours. I thought it was like 2. But that's what happens when you're having fun. In fact, I could talk for hours, but I'm just mindful that.
How dare you having fun?
This is 2020. No fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It hasn't finished yet.
It doesn't literally make any sense for this to be fun, but it is.
It is, and we gamers are very resolute. You know, the non-gamers have been looking at us for fun. Like, and I've had so many people like just call me and say, "Hey, Gaz, like, what's a good console?" I'm like, I have to deal with this shit now. I'm like, listen, you late make fun of me for my stuff, and now you're asking me for my help.
Yeah,
so true.
Shoes on the other foot, baby.
Yeah, exactly. We're the kings now, right? Nerds are the champions. Guys in chat, thank you so much for coming on. And lovely having you on. When the show ends, we are going to play. So this is not our last show of the year. Tomorrow we have something called Versus, where we have a tournament where we invite content creators and contestants. We've got Smash tomorrow. 2 of some of the best Smash Bros Ultimate players in the world are facing off against each other. It's sick. The next video after this ends is going to be a promo of me going Super Saiyan. If you haven't seen it, yes, I am very powerful. Do watch it. Thank you so much in chat. Outros.
I've been having nightmares of Palatina since the last episode.
Oh, Isabel. Oh, she was amazing.
She's deadly.
She is. I've been in talks with her and her boyfriend, who are really high up in the Smash scene as well. So big shout out to Isabel and to Jams. They're lovely. We have Versus is going to be, it's like a pilot for what's coming next. We're doing tournament side stuff as well, and Versus is going to branch out to other games. I'd love to see Colt Eastwood versus Dealer on Call of Duty. Who would not want to see that? I've already spoken to them about that. Gunstar, thank you so much, because love you all, but mainly Asa, for fuck's sake, Gunstar. How much love do I have to show you? Everyone's the same. Just biased. I mean, that's it. I'm going to turn into an even bigger prick. But thank you so much for the £2 super chat. Yeah, guys, lovely panel. It's been effortless conversations with you guys. We could talk about this for hours. Thank you so much. I'm just going to do the outros. Clayton, again, it's good to wrap up the year with you coming on, especially when you were one of the first joiners here. And your content and COD Connected, thank you for submitting that. It's great content, and I love having you on here. I hope you've had fun coming on there.
I've had a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's the most important thing. As long as you've enjoyed yourself, I don't care about anything else. Thank you so much. Where can people find you?
So people can find me at COD Connected, as you said. Clayton Cyre, CYRE on Twitter, and Claymation Nation on Instagram.
Yep. I'm just going to link that. Isla's probably doing that. Isla, I'm sorry to rely on you to do that. If you're sleeping, that's fine. I feel bad. But Isla, do it. No, Isla's already on the case. I'm such a piece of shit.
So amazing.
She's lovely. She's lovely. We should actually get her on the show if she wants to come on. JT from That Hitbox. Sir, how are you doing? Oh man, I'll always remember our stream where we got raided by like 1,200 people live, and people were just talking about your face. But your face is lovely, and so is That Hitbox. And it's really, honestly, nice to, and I appreciate the discourse that you invite about talking to Game On Daily, because we all talk about others. Sometimes we do want to let people know, but that without sounding too salesy.
Toot your horn, bro. Toot your horn.
Yeah, now it sounds weird to blow our own load, but thank you for reminding us that we are still doing stuff. But more than that, it's still about you as a content creator. We love you on here. I hope you've had a good time.
Oh man, it's a pleasure, man. And this is effortless. It really is, to get to just hang out with you guys and chew this fat and back and forth. It's great. I have a website. Isla's put it up. That Hitbox. I'm hoping to do more with it next year. And I genuinely credit this. Get ready for the trumpet. I genuinely credit this. My renewed enthusiasm for doing this has been largely thanks to the two of you. So and for all the time I've spent hanging out with you guys. So yeah, on Twitter at That Hitbox. We're going to be doing a new season of podcasts as well. Some Drivel, which is my podcast series, which are going to be relaunching season 2 next year. Again, you can find me on Twitter at The Drivel Bucket for that. And then thathitbox.com, which is our main site.
great site as well. And thank you so much again, JT. We'll definitely have you on, all of you guys on. Thank you again. Lovely to chat to you. Mads, you look like you've had a stroke. Are you alive?
Yeah, still alive. It's just it's like too much food, too much drinking and stuff. So it's getting late.
Stroke from your interview.
No, but Mads, I know, and all thanks to you guys for coming on Boxing Day as well. Mads, thank you so much for joining us. And you know, we've become buds over a very short period of time. I love your content, watch all of your videos, and I hope you've had a good time. I know you're tired, but tell the lovely people where can they find you.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. I really love being here on the show. I've been here like 2 or 3 times already. So yeah, keep those invites coming. Yeah, I love you guys, like your work and stuff, your energy and stuff. Isa technical, and analytical mind as well. So with the videos. By the way, you can find me on YouTube, Mads Gaming. You can find me on Twitter, Mads Gaming PL. And yeah, I also write some articles for Lords of Gaming. So I mean, they are actually a fun bunch of guys as well. So check their website as well.
Iron Lords, I'm wearing the cap right now. Yeah.
Sorry?
Was it the Iron Lords? Did you say you write for?
Iron Lords that's the podcast, but the Lords of Gaming is their website.
Yeah, Lords of Gaming. Yeah, I'm wearing the hat. They're lovely guys as well. I've had them before. I'd love to have them on again. So yeah.
So you can find me there. So yeah, thanks a lot for the invite. Yeah, and you guys take care.
Thank you. Last but definitely not least, I hope your debut on GameOnDaily was fun, Mav. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And again, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, it's been absolutely awesome. You two guys make a great pair for the podcast, for the website. It's a good blend. I like it. I think it needs to keep going for years. Stay together, keep working, because what y'all are making is awesome. So I don't know why the hell you asked me to be on here with these awesome people, but I'm super glad that you did. It's been an awesome time. It's nice getting to know you, Clayton, and JT here. Like you said, effortless conversations. I know Mads pretty well already by this point, and Dread earlier. Shout out to him. Thanks for coming on, Dreadpool, as well. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and watching this podcast. And you can also check me out on Twitter at Fun Speculation, on YouTube, Fun Speculation. Friday nights, I have the Xbox Ultimate podcast. I do that show with my wife. We have a great time, play games afterwards with a lot of people in the community. We just started this year, and it's been a great time. And I, especially doing things like this, is just awesome, guys. So thank you again for having me.
No, absolutely. It's our pleasure. You asked me why we'd have you on here. It's because we watched your stuff. You also submit on GameOnDaily. So
Yes, sir.
And we joined Mads together. Why wouldn't we have you? And again, we'll definitely have you again in the future. Thank you, everyone in chat. It's been great banter. Stay tuned for the promo video for Versus. Versus is out tomorrow at 8 p.m. GMT, and the different times are there. It's going to be, even if you're not a Smash player, just watch it for the banter. Massive disclaimer, forgive us for the language we use. It's a competitive game. We might get excited. But thank you. Love you all. Peace out. Holla at your boy Asa. Bye-bye.
Let's get ready to rumble or smash. Strategies on that.
That's it.
Oh, that is
Very close. Izzy is too good for everyone. I need to find an opponent that is on Izzy's level, but I will do. In fact, I may already have one. While we were talking, there was some development.
mystery.
Right. With great power come great responsibility. Welcome to Versus. In this series, 2 contestants go head to head in a battle to the death. In this episode, we have 2 of some of the best Smash players out there. In the green corner, we have Yes SSB, regarded as one of the top 3 Ike players out there in Smash. In the blue corner, we have You're Too Slow, also regarded as one of the best Sonic players out there. Hershey! The winner gets to join the GameOnDaily Hall of Fame and win an Xbox Series S. Let's go!